And we are live, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Nr Rivera of Nr Rivera Films, and we are here with another episode of Live Discussions with Diamond. And today I have a very, very important special guest, but a person I consider family, the one and only Edwin Rivera.
What's up, kid? How you doing? Thank you
Oh
for
man,
having me.
absolutely. This interview is a long time coming, and for me, especially in this dance scene, you were one person that I can say I annoyed the hell out of and tried to just soak up so much from. And it's a it's a blessing, and it's great that we get to just come under this type of platform and just really understand your story. I mean, under the circumstances of COVID-19, it's really has hurt our dance scene
Mhm.
greatly, but you yourself and a lot of other people, promoters and organizers, have been creating events online that have still given us some sense of relief and happiness. And again, I appreciate you
Thank you.
coming on this platform.
Well, thank you, man. I'm proud of you, kiddo, for being fearless and interviewing some great artists. Getting knowledge out of these artists. Where knowledge is most needed right now. So I'm super, super proud of you for having the courage, like us, right? Because do something during these times, you got to have a lot of courage and not be selfish, right? Because you can easily be selfish and think about yourself and think about your family and nobody else until things get better. But you 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 you're doing it, man. So I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. And I really want myself. I mean, we've grown up. I mean, I've grown up with you, and of course, you're a little bit older than me. But to really see where you came from is really, really amazing. To see the trajectory. But for myself and the audience, I would love to take it really all the way back from the true beginnings of your dance career.
Well, it was I was one of those kids in the hood. You know what I mean? I just I'm in the hood in the Bronx, no rules in the streets, gangs, uh, drugs. Not that I did drugs, and I never, when I was that young, no, no, no. But I worked for people that were dealing drugs, and at a young age, I got caught up in that lifestyle. And I'll make a long story short. Um, my mom sent me to karate school, and I was supposed to be going there every Saturdays, but I would go to karate class, cut karate class, and go hang out with my friends in the corner, you know, do a couple things that I wasn't supposed to. And my neighbor caught me once in the corner, and it was about maybe 6, 7 blocks away from my house. And my neighbor ran back to my mom and told my mom, "Hey, your son is in this corner right now with these guys." And my mom just stormed out of her apartment, takes me out the block with a broom, actually caught me with the broom in front of all of my boys, my supposedly boys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Embarrassed me. When you get hit with the broom, you can't go back to that block no more. You know what
Oh
I'm
no,
saying?
no.
Can't go there no more. So my mother was just like, I trusted you. I trusted that you were going to be responsible, that you can go to karate class and back home, but you didn't. So now you're going to do something that I want you to do, and you're going to dance. And I'm like, I don't want to dance. I don't want to do that. She's like, well, you're going to live the dream that I couldn't live because your grandparents, your grandfather never allowed me to. So from there, it was like Saturdays, no more karate. She found out about this dance studio called the Starlite Dance Studio in the Bronx, and she took me there. I obviously had my jeans hanging out of my booty, wearing my gray bandana at the time because I was involved in two gangs at the time. I don't want to say who they were, but I showed up, and my mom introduces herself to a great gentleman by the name of David Melendez. And David took his hand out and introduced himself to me. He said, "Hey, how are you? My name is David Melendez of the Starlight Dance Studio. Welcome to Starlight." And I just didn't give him my hand back.
Mm.
I just looked at him and I said, "What's up?" And he was like, "What's up?" He was like, "What's up is you're gonna turn around, get out of my dance studio, put that bandana in the garbage. Oh, and when you come back in, make sure those pants are on your waist." And I was like, "Mom, I ain't gotta listen to this guy. I'm not gonna listen to him. I ain't got, I ain't gotta do what he says." And my mom was like, "It's either you listen or I send you to military school."
Mm.
Those were the options. And I didn't want to go to military school until I was 18. You know what I mean? So I went outside, threw my bandana out. You know what I'm saying? Came back in the studio, and I shook David's hand, and the rest was history. Shook his hand, took a private lesson with him. It was crazy because after I took a private lesson with him, nobody really knows this story. I took two private lessons with him. My second one, I go. So I would literally go to Starlite. Well, those two private lessons, I would go with my bandana, and I arrived at second lesson. I hide the bandana, pick my pants up, and I took the lesson. And then I would go back after Starlight to where I wasn't supposed to be. So this one time, these people I was working for, I was going back to the corner right after my second private lesson with David Melendez. And as I'm walking back to that corner, the feds, nabbed everybody. Police officers nabbed everybody in that corner. And it just so happens at that time I'm supposed to be in that corner. But I was in dance class. So as I'm running to get to that corner on time, everybody's getting arrested. So my boys just look at me, and they just like look at me like, yo, keep walking. Don't even come through here. So I look at them, and there's yellow tape everywhere. I walk around the yellow tape. I get back on that one bus to the 22. I run to Starlight because I couldn't run to my parents, let them know what happened. And I go to David, and I cry on David, and I tell him what I was involved in and the reason why I was kind of like, I had a wall up. This just happened. What do I do? Because I was scared to go home. I thought maybe the cops were going to go to my house and take me from there. And David just said, let's keep this between us. Just promise me you're not going to go back to that lifestyle. And I'm going to promise you I'm going to change your life. But for right now, just stay in the school and just practice the moves. Practice the moves I taught you. And I did that. And then from there, he invited me to the actual school, right?
Okay.
The actual school, which was in September, like school year.
Yes.
I started the school year. So I started with David June of 1997. Came down in September. I was ready. I let go of everything. I let go of the corner, the streets. I let it go because I believed that David was going to be the person that was going to change my life. And he promised that to me, right? So I still believed in adults at that age, right? So I go there, and I arrive to the studio, and I see like all these kids getting along. Like that was foreign to me. Usually, you're either part of a group that's against another group, or you're part of a group that's protecting each other, or there was always some commotion happening with kids my age at that time. But not when I arrived to that studio. I remember the first two people that approached me were Amanda Ciprian and Cristina Conde. These two girls just walked up to me and said, "Hey, how are you? I'm Amanda. I'm Cristina. Welcome to Starlight." And I'm like, "Why are they so nice?"
Yes.
I didn't know kids my age could be this nice. And then after that, I just fell in love. I just fell in love with the family that David created in his dance studio. It was just super family orientated. People who weren't your blood, who weren't your family, would still look after you, would still take care of you. At that time when I was coming up, the people outside of David, because David ran Starlight as a business. He wasn't close to anybody. There was no relationships, right? It was just like, this is a business, and he separated that, right? Him and I got closer later in the years when he knew that I was mature enough to still have a relationship with him and still know that I had to be his student at the same time, right? Because that was his fear of having relationships with kids. Can they still handle a friendship and still look at him as a dance teacher? So at that time, the adults that were like really, really taking care of the kids in terms of having a personal relationship with them was Debbie Melendez, David's sister, and Jackie Figueroa. Those two, like Debbie was the person that she knew who the talent was. Like she knew, okay, this kid has a lot of potential. This girl has a lot of potential. And Debbie was always on David. David, you need to give Edwin a chance. You got to give Edwin's a star. If it wasn't for Debbie telling David, the potential I had, David would have probably noticed later, but again,
Yeah.
David was just business. But finally, David took a peek. Jackie was that third parent to us. Jackie was like, we can go to her for anything, and she
Yeah.
wouldn't tell our parents, and she would take care of us when I was coming up. You know what I mean? When I was a child in Starlight. So like, one time I wanted to run away from home, right? And I'm like, outside in the street, I don't know what to do, and Jackie was there for me, something that I'll never forget. So it was super family oriented at Starlight, and I just loved it. I loved it. Now what made me truly commit? There's a story I want to tell real quick. Truly commit.
Yeah.
So at that time, David had these boys, like they were like his favorite boys, right? I don't think they'll mind. It was Adam, Kiki, sorry. His brother, I forgot what his brother's name was. A few Mark Gonzalez, a few other boys. I'm sorry, kid. This is before your time.
No, absolutely.
So these were David's boys, man. These were his boys. This was before Harvick Boys, because David always loved the boys thing. But then these kids left and joined another dance company, and that really broke David's heart. And I remember seeing David's pain. I'm like, man, this guy took time to bring these boys up, and these boys left him. So then he was left with these new boys, and I was one of the new boys. And I just went up to David and I said, David, I would never do that to you. If you keep teaching me the way you do, I'm gonna be so loyal to you, David, so loyal to you that we're gonna take whatever boy group you ever want to create, we're gonna take it to another level. I promise you, David. I promise you. You know what I mean? And so that kind of struck a chord to David, because he's like, well, what do you know about loyalty? What do you know about that? You're too young to know about that. And I just said, look, you're giving me an opportunity here, and I'm never gonna forget that. And then from there, our relationship started growing. But we would never, like, I would never as a kid show off my relationship with David in front of the other kids. You know what I'm saying? I would never do that. And he would never give me any special treatment. He was actually the hardest on me. Like, he would rarely put me in the middle. He would always put me on the side. He would put me in the back. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't mind that, because I understood why he did it, because he didn't want anybody to think that he was giving me special attention. But behind closed doors, it was just him and I always. We were playing chess. We were talking about life, what my next moves were, what I wanted to do. We always had that relationship with each other behind closed doors. And I was truly, truly grateful for that.
Oh man, and that's awesome, because I think what in your story from the beginning, it's a divine intervention, because you said you came where you were from in the Bronx, and the elements that you were around and the atmosphere, it could have really took you left, but meeting David and heading into the studio, it took you right, and realizing that moment when you saw the same people you were supposed to meet on the corner, because you were in dance class, you weren't there at that moment. And your life changed, and
I
then
would have been in jail, easy.
No, but we realized too, your story is so similar to a lot of other kids that I've met in different dance schools in Starlight and abroad, because I realized that the elements and the atmospheres that a lot of these same students were in, their parents or their guardians wanted to put them in a situation that was going to help them, because we realize in our communities, when we don't have any outlets, we find our own outlet. We find people that we feel are going to care for us. And like you have your parents, but then finding a person like David who, kind of set you straight in a sense, like from the first meeting of it wasn't good. It wasn't going to take any mess. And, that's really, that's just the love and the care and the patience he took with you shows, because in any other setting, many adults would probably just let you go and realize.
Or he could have called my mom and said, hey, your son is involved in this. You gotta do something about it. Bring him back when he's like away from this. Cause I could have been a potentially dangerous to his studio, right? I could have had people following me there, at any time, but he didn't. It's weird. He was like, don't worry about it. We got you. I got you. Just make me that promise that you're going to stay on the right track, and I'll make you that promise that I'm just going to be there to help you. So I owe him. I owe him everything. So yeah.
No, yeah, and it's funny because you said like before my time. It's funny. I was actually there because we're a few years apart, but I actually came in '96, but I was much younger. So yeah, so I was actually there in '96, and I remember.
So you remember the boys that I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Oh,
But
okay.
mind you, I was
sorry.
no. I I was a lot younger. I wasn't around that element, but I still remember when I first met David. It wasn't the situation with you. I met him while he was teaching other students, and it was teaching boys at the time. And I remember looking because originally at 6 years old, I just wanted to play baseball. I didn't want to be a dancer, but my grandmother, the late Edna Rivera,
Beautiful Edna Rivera.
Thank you. I mean,
love that lady.
My grandmother, I believe,
best pasteles in the world, the best.
I believe to this day, like what she did forever changed my life because at 6 years old, actually I was 5, turning 6, and realizing at that age, like, hey, my language of the Spanish-speaking language wasn't as fluent, but she said to make sure that you keep your roots and keep your heritage, I want to put you in something that's going to help connect those elements. And like you said, being in Starlite at a younger age, you're with kids your age. So you're meeting children and you're meeting other kids from your neighborhood or elsewhere that really they're all really in a positive field because a lot of times in our areas, kids are always angry. There's always something going on.
And coming up from the Bronx, I don't care who it is, even till today. You got to walk around like something you're not.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like to be honest with you, I wasn't a thug. I wasn't a hustler. I didn't like to hurt people. But if I didn't show that side of me, they would have hurt me. You know what I'm saying? So I had to do things, obviously, that, in your life that you regret. Well, not really regret because I don't regret nothing in my life. But you say, damn, it happened. But you learn from it. You learn from it and you grow from it. And for 6 days out of the week, before I joined the company, or Harvard Boys, for 6 days out of the week, I had to be something I wasn't. But at least at Starlight, I was in my safe haven. I was in my safe haven. I could be myself. Walls were down. I didn't have to be this dog that I thought I had to be. I was around a safe environment.
Yeah, and I think that's most important, especially in a lot of children, a lot of adolescent and teenagers. We always need that positive outlet because it's very easy for us to be very vulnerable, be very naive, and kind of follow the wrong crowd because we feel that they're giving us the attention we want. And, seeing that when you started, having David really be tough on you because he saw something, but also having people like Debbie, people like Jackie, and other females like Christina and Amanda, just giving you that just genuine attention and really looking out for you because there's so many kids in this dance studio, and there's always another one. But to see that they saw something in you, and to see where you've gone now speaks many volumes.
Yeah.
And I know you were speaking about David then was teaching boys. Some boys had transitioned, and then he still had a collective of boys left. Did you feel like, especially when he created the Heartbreak Boys, and we'll definitely get into the story of that, but did you feel like it was kind of a comparison to like the boy bands of those times?
David wanted to keep his school away from the social scene. He would go to socials and clubs by himself. So it's weird. Like the salsa scene, the mambo scene in New York, only knew David Melendez, right? He was always involved in the social scene, always. But they knew he had a studio, but he kept it separate. So he was being told, he was asked a lot, like, hey, why don't you bring your kids to a show? Why don't you bring kids to your show? Why don't you bring your kids to a show? So Starlight was a dance studio full of dance classes, right? There were dance classes, and then there was a Starlight Dance Company, which competed in different competitions. You were the first Latin school to compete in jazz ballet competitions, right?
Okay.
So we had that going on, but David wanted something to go into the social scene. He wanted something to go into he just came back from the Puerto Rico Salsa Congress, And he
Yes.
was so inspired. He goes, I need to somehow, I have the talent to be involved in this circuit. So it was primarily that reason he created the Heartbreak Boys, to bring something into the dancing that represented his dance studio. He felt like a class wasn't going to cut it, because there was just too many kids, too much parents, and it was just going to be too expensive to be traveling with so many people to different festivals, different congresses, or socials at 1 in the morning. It was just, the liability was just too much. So 6 boys, easy enough. I'm responsible for them. Let's go. So he started that. That's why he started the Heartbreak Boys, to
Gotcha.
be a part of the scene.
And then you being honestly, I believe you're the first generation
Yes,
of
sir.
the Heartbreak Boys. What was that experience like of actually being like with 4 to 5 other gentlemen and like kind of learning or going through that process?
It was. If I can go back to it, I can go back to it
Hmm.
tomorrow. I can go back to it any day. I mean, you were part of the Heartbreak Boys, a different generation, and forget about the dancing, forget about the traveling,
Hmm.
the amount of laughs
Yeah.
that, to this day, I'll lay back in bed and I'll still laugh at jokes that I have with the boys. How we picked on each other, how we always made fun of each other, how we were just. It was all love, man. It was all love. It was super special that we started at the age of 15, and
Hmm.
then, you're asked to go to the Los Angeles Salsa Congress, right? You're asked to go to the Salsa Web Convention, which was one of the first congresses in Canada. Then you're asked to go to Japan, right? I'm a kid from the Bronx that, no offense to anybody, any Asians, to the
Hmm.
Asian community, but when you're in the Bronx, you're not really taught about the differences between a Japanese and a Chinese and a Vietnamese, or somebody from Singapore or Korean. So when I go to Japan at that age, your world just opens up. So I'm so grateful for Starlight. But had it not been for that boy group that David Melendez created, the Heartbreak Boys, which at first started out as the Starlight Boys. It was the
Yes.
Starlight Boys. It was just all the best boys in Starlight. We came in, um, and I remember we did one routine, Machito Forever, for Six Flags Magic Mountain. And every time we would, go to Six Flags, we would always do like a big production there with Starlight. And I
Hmm.
remember David gave me a solo, like a 2 bar solo. Uh, and when he gave me that 2 bar solo, I, I don't know, I just did a basic stop, moved my hips, and I kissed the crowd. And when I felt that crowd just scream, I'll never forget this. I leave my solo, we finish the routine, and David just comes up to me and goes, "Dude, that was so cool. That was so cool." And he told me this once, that the 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 idea started there after that performance. Like, you know what? I just need to get the best boys together. But then when he
Hmm.
went to the Puerto Rico Congress,
Yes.
that's when he was like, I need to do this. And yeah, I was just, as a dance teacher, I can understand when you look at other kids and they inspire you.
Yeah.
Just, the kid could tell the dance teacher, "Oh, you inspire me too," right? But he looked at us and we inspired him, just like, well, a little bit. Not, he inspired us a lot more, obviously, but it was cool to know that David watching us inspired him to start the Heartbreak Boys.
Yeah, and I know you were in the Harbor Boys for a couple years, and I know for me, I was much younger, so I mean, maybe my memory is a little foggy. And we're gonna go in detail on a lot about some stories, but I know you had finished the Heartbreak Boys, or you kind of transitioned out, and I believe in that time frame you had met, or maybe in LA you met Albert Torres,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that is kind
Hmm.
of where that connection started.
Yeah. There's somebody that I don't mention enough, and
Okay.
I gotta mention her, and that's Selena Negron. Miss Selena, from the Starlight Dance Studio. When I was part of the Starlight Dance company, Miss Selena taught me how to be different. Miss Selena opened up my world to the commercial world, to dancing hip hop, to dancing fusion music, to jazz, to my technique at that time. She opened up my world. So had it not been for her opening up my world, then I would have never understood Los Angeles, right? Because when I went to
Hmm.
Los Angeles at a young age to perform for the first time, like I knew what I was coming into and I was ready. You know what I'm saying? David was super salsa, mambo, but Miss Selena said you could do much more than that. I want you to be more than just salsa and mambo, Edwin. I want you to do more. So this crazy side that I have of being experimental and trying new things
Yeah.
and trying to be the best that I can be in those things, I got that from Selena. And I don't give her enough credit, and I'm gotta admit that, you know, and I love her to death. So I go to Los Angeles, and I see Albert Torres for the first time. It's great, but we don't really meet. You
Okay.
know, we don't really meet. We perform, and he loved us, and we actually meet in Japan. From Los Angeles to Japan, in between that time break, LA was in May, Japan happened in October.
Hmm.
I come back from LA and I'm in love with Los Angeles. And I said, this is where I need to be. I want
Yeah.
to be an entertainer. This is where I want to be. And I'm like, maybe my next lifetime I'll be here. Maybe when I die in my next life, because I never
Yeah.
would have imagined I would have gone to LA. And all of a sudden, we go to Japan, we crush it out there, and Albert grabs me out of all the boys, says, "What's up, bud?" Like, you know how this is bro. There's holes in this shirt. That's how old school it is, man. But I still got it.
Yeah.
It's
No,
always been with me.
I just want
Always
you to
been with
know
me.
at least. Just I want you to know at least through the interview, I'm going to be showing just the comments are like now flooding in, and it's like you can still tell your story, of course. I just want you to know, like throughout the interview, will just be showing tons of comments.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, and so Albert comes up to me. He goes, "So I heard you like Los Angeles," and I said, "Yeah, Albert, how you doing? I'm good. I love Los Angeles, but maybe my next lifetime I'll do it." And at that time, I was thinking about dropping out of school. Right, I
Mm.
was thinking about getting my GED. David knew about it. David was disappointed that I wanted to go that direction, but Albert said, "But I heard you don't like school." And I said, "No, it's not that I don't like school. I just wanna, you know, I just want to get to this dance thing quicker. That's it." And he's like, "Well, let's do this. Finish high school, and I'll make sure you get to LA." And I'm like, "What? What do you mean finish high school?" He said, "Yeah, I'll make sure you come to LA. I'll take care of everything. Just finish high school."
Oh.
And I was like, "What? That's what I got to do? Finish high school? That's it?" And then all of a sudden, um, I honestly didn't know I was even that smart. Like I graduated my senior year, honors, all A's. Like I just graduated. I was super focused, super focused. No distractions at all. And
Hmm.
I finished high school. I still needed to stack up some money. Albert, when I finished high school, Albert came a few days after my graduation to tell my parents what he wanted to do. My parents thought he was crazy. Like he came to New York to like really convince my parents to let me go. Like let him go. He doesn't belong here anymore. Like let him go. So my mom was like, if he wants to go, he wants to go. But if he goes, you know, he's not gonna have our support. Right? My mom said that, you know,
Hmm.
talking.
Yeah.
And Albert goes, "Well, don't worry about it. He has all the support he needs in LA. So we'll take care of him." And Albert goes, "You ready?" I go, "I'm ready to go." So he says, "All right, get your money right and let me know when you're ready to come." And I took a semester off of college,
Hmm.
and thank God to the Laniers, you know, Louis, Timothy's dad, Yvette.
Yes.
At that time, he was managing like I remember these stories like vividly, like if they were yesterday. He gave me a job as a stock boy at one of his children's clothing stores up in Dykeman.
Mm.
So I mean, it was like my first real job. I saved up a little bit of money to go to LA. Went on a plane, hopped on a plane with a dream. Got there, arrived. Albert picked me up. I'm like, oh my god, I'm with the biggest promoter in the world. I'm
Yeah.
gonna travel. I'm gonna make it. Like I can't believe it. And this guy drops me off at Santa Monica College, man. He just drops me off at college. So I'm like, what are we doing here? He goes, oh, well, you graduated high school, so I need you to graduate college. I'm like, what are you talking about graduating college? That wasn't the plan. I thought I was gonna like travel with you and go to congresses with you. He goes, no way. You got many years before that. Why would I take you to a congress? Why would you travel around the world? You haven't put no work in yet. You haven't done anything yet. What have you done in this scene for me to take you around the world? First, let's get your education first. So I said, I called my mom crying as I'm registering for school. Can you believe what he did? He lied. I want to go back home. I want to go back home. And my mom is like, no te jodiste. You're staying there. You're not coming back. You chose to go, you're going to go.
Yeah.
So long story short, man, I got my AA. You're supposed to get it in 2 years. I got it in 14 months. Showed up to Albert's office with my diploma. Like, yo, here you go. I'm ready to work. And then it was like, oh shit, he's not playing.
Yeah.
So at 19 years old, I had all this debt with school and stuff like that because I was out of state, so I was paying out of state tuition. My parents were helping me too with whatever they could, but I needed money. So I lived in Japan for 6 months, 5 or 6 months, something like that. I did this project where I got the best dancers in Japan, got them together. We did this amazing choreography, got enough money to pay all my debts off. Came back to LA after Japan, and started. I was the youngest person to start a professional dance company in Los Angeles. I was 19 years old. We started the Edwin Rivera project. I was 19, managing like adults who were 25, 24, older. I'm in LA. I really didn't like the options that were there when I arrived in terms of a dance company, but started that dance company. No fear, man. There was just no fear. Like, who the hell is this 19-year-old kid from New York trying to make noise out here in Los Angeles? And I got to give it up to Francisco Vasquez. Francisco Vasquez. At that time, there were New Yorkers there already, but unfortunately, the New Yorkers that were there, it was kind of like a big division. Like, they were like, hey, if you dance on 2, you can't dance with nobody on 1. Like, it was super like that, and I wasn't like that. I wasn't brought up that way. So I was actually more with the on-1 dancers in Los Angeles. And Francisco Vasquez, man, I'll never forget this. We're at Steven's Steakhouse, and it's my first time there. Crazy story. I want to say the story real quick.
Yeah,
I go to Steven's Steakhouse. I sneak into that place, actually.
You weren't old enough.
I wasn't old enough.
Okay.
So I sneak into that place. Somebody opens his back door. I slap in his back door. And all of a sudden there's a big circle. Back at that time in Los Angeles, like, salsa was huge. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the Mecca right now. Francisco Vasquez he looks at me and he goes, Heartbreak Boy. And I'm like, yeah. And then he just takes my hand and he throws me. And he throws me in the circle, and I'm dancing with Melissa Fernandez from Salsa Brava at the time. And when he throws me, she's like, I don't dance on 2. I was like, don't trip. And I started dancing on 1, and the crowd erupted. Whoa! Like, this kid from New York, and he's dancing on 1. And that's how the LA scene accepted me. All of them, every single member in the LA scene accepted me as if I was their own. And I also got to say thank you to Alicia and Raul Gomez. They were literally like my third parents in Los Angeles. Albert was the business. Albert was like, he was the discipline, man. He wasn't the type to say, hey, Edwin, I love you, or I miss you, how you doing? He was just the type to, what'd you do this week? That's not enough. He was just like that. And I'm so blessed I had that. Where Alicia and Raul, they were just like, Mijo, did you eat today? Mijo, how much money you have in your pocket? Mijo, I cooked you beans. Come. And
okay.
Yeah, I was very blessed with the people in my life. The three most special people in my life, they're no longer here. So anyway, so Alicia was very, very special. Thank God Raul is still around. He got remarried to a beautiful woman named Pam, who I love them both very much. And thank you, Pam, so much for taking care of Raul for me. He's still alive. He's still kicking. Um, Raul met my daughter Phoenix, so I feel like Alicia has met Phoenix. Um, these four people were so crucial in my life. Raul and Alicia and Albert and David. So sorry, I went off topic right now.
No. It's understandable because we understand that within a story, the journey and what it took to go through that, what it took for you meeting David, meeting Albert, and meeting Alicia and that family. You were always surrounded by just figures that inspired you, that made sure that you were going in the right direction. And it's like for me, like seeing the comments here, you got like Charlie Garcia, people that really looked up to you from years back.
Thank you,
And,
Charlie.
it's like, it's amazing. You got Amanda here, like just remembering these stories that you're bringing about are just like really just giving people those flashbacks. I remember that you taught a class at my event in 2001, the Southern California.
That's right. I did with Mike Bello. He was doing his thing over there. Mike was very, very instrumental to growing the On2 in Los Angeles. But I felt like Mike was doing it healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like Mike was doing it really, really, really healthy with the scene he was trying to develop in Los Angeles. And that's why, when he did that Mambo convention, it was like, yeah, I'm in there. Let's do it, man. I'm there. But still, Mike was one of the first to give me an opportunity at a workshop, but not Albert. Albert.
Yeah.
Albert, I had to wait for years to teach a workshop at his LA Salsa Festival, and it was so frustrating, because I was like, man, I'm better than all these guys, and he's not giving me a workshop.
Yeah.
But you know what? I am so blessed he did it that way. I'm so lucky he did it that way. You know what I mean? Like when I'm the same. I'm very hard on those who are closest to me. Like, you're not going to get an opportunity from me. You're not. Especially if you're close to me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you have to show I don't want nobody to say, oh, they got that opportunity because they're close to Edwin. You know what I'm saying? And that's the conversation. Like nobody can tell that. Like every time, oh, the PR routine, summer camp routine. That's right, Venus.
Yes.
Yeah. No one can go to Albert and say, man, there were a few people that would say that, but we knew why they would say it. But like majority of the people would go to Albert and go, wow, you're really helping out this talented kid, and he deserves it. Like, I really didn't hang out with people my age. I didn't find that, like, I didn't find I was going to gain anything out of that. That's why I had these great mentors. I wanted to suck their knowledge out.
Yeah.
Like, I was just around them all the time. Even if they didn't want me to be around them, I was around them. Like, when I first moved to Los Angeles, man, I was in Albert's garage, man, fixing up all his DVDs, washing his Porsche. Like, I was doing some dirty work, but you know what? That's how bad I wanted it. I wanted it that bad. I was fearless. Excuse me. I wasn't scared, man. I was sleeping on an air mattress with a freaking iron on close to my feet, because the house where I stayed at, didn't have heat. So I had an iron, and the iron kept my feet warm, and I was hoping that I wouldn't burn my skin. Real talk. But I think about that now, and I'm just like, my God, a cup of noodles, 4 months, 6 months strong, man. But when you have this vision of wanting to complete this dream, you just go for it. Shout out to Jahiva Fajardo. I love you. I love everything that you guys do for our Latin dance community. I love you, and thank you for your words.
Absolutely. Even Mike says you refuse to get paid.
Yeah. Mike, I can use that money right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding.
No, even Yanin says, I'm getting emotional again. I remember the first time I saw Edwin. He had a huge afro. Thought to myself, who is this new guy? He is so good.
Yeah. And Me and her and Janine, it was we would talk all the time in company class. I love just being there. I love being with her. I love talking to her. I love how spontaneous she was with her words. And yeah, I just got along with everybody in Starlight. And that's kind of the same way I am right now. You know what I mean? Like I get along with everybody. If anybody doesn't get along with me, I really believe is they don't know me. That's it. They don't know me. Because thank God I have yet to have any problems with people in this business. So
Yeah, no, and definitely that definitely speaks volumes because, I mean, now we can really get into how, I mean, I met you and you met my grandmother when I was so young, but then when you had left to LA and there was like a period of time when you were gone, and from the Heartbreak Boys, then David created Junior Heartbreak Boys, and I think I was a part of the second or third generation of that, and I remember then you coming back. And then you started teaching.
I started the Junior Heartbreak Boys before I left.
Okay.
It was before I left. It was my senior year in high school, and Debbie begged, and again, I gotta give respects to Debbie, and I gotta pay respects to Jackie. They were the ones that were always in David's ear about me. Like, yo, you gotta give this kid a chance. Give him a chance. Give him a chance. Give him a chance. And the opportunity came up to choreograph for the Junior Heartbreak Boys, and David saw my potential when I choreographed summer camp, Starlight Summer Camp that year.
Yes, I do remember they had a summer camp.
Which is the routine that Venus is talking about.
The PR routine.
Yeah. Marby Santiago. Yo me voy para Puerto Rico, Fuego a la Jicotea, one of those two songs. And I just had this gift where I knew what to do. I knew how to just choreograph. Like, it was just the music spoke to me. It was weird. I saw colors when I choreograph, just like I see colors when I make music. It was super, super weird. But I loved it. And then from that summer camp routine, it progressed to I think you can handle the Junior Heartbreak Boys. And when I got that opportunity, my God, it was over. Over.
I definitely remember because for me, like, I wasn't one of the originals, and I was always that kid on the outside. Like, I need to work to get here because the ultimate goal was the Heartbreak Boys. I remember seeing Timothy, Matthew, Craig.
My goal was when I became the Junior Boys, and I'm so sorry to my Heartbreak Boys from my generation, but my goal was they're gonna be better than the Heartbreak Boys. That was my goal. Like, I was like, hey, we're good. I'm about to leave anyway, to LA. This is my final year in Starlight. I'm like, you know what? This is the future. The Junior Heartbreak Boys. This is how I'm gonna leave my legacy in Starlight. And so I just threw everything at the Junior Heartbreak Boys. And I was so blessed because we don't talk enough about the parents behind these children, right? They're the ones investing the money. They're the ones that were believing in my craziness. David allowed me to speak directly with the parents, which was so cool. Like, from being 17, 16 years old, talking to the 17, I don't know, what one of those ages, telling them, hey, so we're going to use turquoise suit, blue suit, red suit, yellow suit. I want Skittles.
Yes,
and this is what I want to do. and the parents are looking at me like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Shout out to DJ Paco. It's one of my favorite DJs in the whole world. And has just been one of my strongest supporters, especially in this time during COVID. I love you, Paco. Thank you for joining us here with discussions with Diamond. And it just took off from there. Like, there, I knew I could choreograph with the Junior Heartbreak Boys. And from there, it was just like no holds bar, man. And I told David, even though I'm leaving, no one choreographs for that but me.
Yes.
Nobody choreographs but me. Nobody. David tried the second routine. He tried the second routine.
I remember.
But didn't work out. I love you, David. I love you. Didn't work out. So David was like, all right, kid, you got this. They're yours for life. Yeah. And that was I couldn't wait to come back home. Yeah, I got to see my parents, but I couldn't wait to work with the Junior Heartbreak Boys. I couldn't wait. And then obviously in the future, it progressed to finally working with the Heartbreak Boys after David's passing.
And I think at least to kind of give some backstory on the juniors before we get to the Heartbreak Boys, because like in reality, especially you were getting, because remember the junior Heartbreak Boys eventually would go to the Heartbreak Boys. So the learning and the teachings and the classes and everything you were teaching us was just going to be soaked in, and then we were just going to reiterate that and bring it there. But I never really got to ask you, like, in reality with the junior boys, what are some like really fond memories that you have of like when I was in it or Timothy or other people?
Ah, man, it was
It can be good or bad. It's fine. You can be as because a lot of people don't know when I had that conversation with Timothy, like I myself was a very just out there kid, and you definitely had a lot of patience with me.
yeah. It was just like a dream come true, to be honest with you, at that age. You know what I'm saying? To like have so many talented young kids, and you know that you're able to shape their future. Like you
Yes.
like that's just so powerful, and to have that responsibility so young was
Mhm.
just everything for me. It was everything for me. So, but the cool thing about it too, I can speak to you guys, and you
Mhm.
guys would reciprocate it. You know, you guys wouldn't give me attitudes back. Maybe you guys might like suck your teeth underneath your breath or whatever, but like you guys wouldn't get disrespectful with me at all. But
No.
I was super hard on you guys because I wanted you guys to be better than the Heartbreak Boys. You
Yeah.
know, and then after Skittles, we did the Jackson 5 where I made you guys again. You came in that generation
Yeah.
dressed in different suits with afros, and
Yes.
each one of you had to sing like the Jackson 5, and
Yeah, I remember that.
you
Like,
know, and but all of you didn't look the same, but looked the same, except for
yes.
you. You know, except for you. You know, everybody had their own style, but when it came to certain moves, everybody did that move, except for
Yeah.
Styling Diamond. Styling Diamond had to be Styling Diamond. So I would yell at you, "Stop being Styling Diamond! Do the move!" You know what I mean? And you just, but I knew where you got that from, Diamond. You know, you watched us as Heartbeat Boys, and a lot of us, we were crazy. We would go on
Yeah.
that stage, we would feel the music, and I never wanted to suppress that
Mhm.
from your kids. I just wanted everybody to be powerful, but still
Yeah.
look the same because we didn't do that. The first
Yeah.
generation of Heartbeat Boys, we just all wanted to just shine, all of us. All of us just wanted to be different. We didn't want to be cohesive. We didn't want to like work together and look the same. So I wanted to bring that to you guys. So I was super strict with you, and I
Yeah.
remember that I was very strict with all of you. David had to pull me out a couple times and tell me, "Yo, you got to take it easy with them. You can't talk like that to them." And I was just like, "This David, I just want to get them to a certain point." You know, I was
Yeah.
just so eager to get. And then David just talked to me about being patient with students.
Yeah.
And so even though David, you know, let the leash go, he would still come back and grab me by the collar and go, "Yo, do it this way." And I was just so blessed to have that. And the parents, like I said, they were so supportive.
Yeah.
They were super big time. My highlights, being able to have a relationship with all the parents, and then telling me, "Oh my God, we're so excited for the next routine." Like
Yes.
it was really special that a lot of that's a lot of a lot of people's hopes and desires for their children,
Mhm.
that they relied on me for that.
Yeah.
So having that, even though to you guys out there, that might not seem like a big responsibility, but when you're 17 and you have that responsibility, and so many people are expecting this, you know, nothing but good things out of you, you take that and then you take it to another level, and you keep taking it to another level, and you keep taking it to another level. That's why when I this thing called being under pressure, that doesn't affect me. That I thrive on that. I
Yeah.
thrive on that. I thrive on. I might disappoint a lot of people, or I might make a lot of people happy. But let me tell you something. Making like if I try something and there's a risk that I can make so many people happy,
Mhm.
there's also a risk that I might disappoint people. I don't even think about that risk of disappointment, because if I'm disappointing people, then that means I'm growing from that. So that's
Mhm.
still a benefit for me. that's not a bad thing if I might disappoint someone, excuse me, on a project or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I look at recently what just happened, and I'm so proud. It's crazy. You know, I'm the first person to start a true online festival on our own platform, not through Facebook, not through Instagram. The first time we tried to go live, we had everybody watching. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. But again, I get up the next day, super happy. Thank God to my wife and my family. They were like, "Yo, you got this. Don't worry about it. You're good. We got your back." And we did it.
Yeah.
We did part one of the festival. Now we're about to do part two, August 8th. So it's just that determination of going strong. And like, I really, 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 really do not care what anyone says about me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if people don't know that. Like, I really don't like in terms of like negative stuff, right?
Yeah.
If people tell me about it, it's like it just really like it just doesn't affect me. What affects me is if I'm not able to take myself to the next level, if I'm not able to complete a job or finish a job. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was so determined to finish this latest project I just finished, or to make sure it works. So
Yeah.
anyway.
No. It's honestly, I don't know if any of us have ever really told you, but a lot of the stuff that you were saying to us, whether like you felt or David felt it was too strict, I think it was just right. Because
Thank you.
when we were younger, maybe we didn't understand it, but as older and adults now, we realize that even though we had parents at home, Starlite was our home. Starlite was a place that we came together and we all connected and worked as a team on a lot of things. And when it came to Junior Boys, especially for me, it was me being in a collective with different boys my age or younger or older, and realizing that we had a person like you that you would literally come. Like, the fact is, I remember there was times we would sit down and they were like, just wait for Edwin. And then we'd just be waiting sometimes for hours because you're coming on the plane and we're just there. But I remember it was like,
I would go straight from the plane to you guys. Get off the plane and go straight to you guys.
And I remember like David would call us, or we'll get a call like, all right, you got this day, you got a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we're literally like 12, 13 years old. And it's like, all right, you guys come on a Friday, 8 o'clock. You work from probably 8 to 12 or 8 to 1 almost every day. And then by Sunday, it needs to be complete. You need to go over it. And it was like, it became repetitive and it became easy. But it was like at a younger age, we had that work ethic. And I saw that you were instilling it in us. And for me, it was like, okay. And I remember you used to tell us, like, you guys are going to be much stronger than the Heartbreak Boys. And then for us, like, it was like, hey, we're here to have fun. But especially for me, that was like, okay, then I need to really change my outlook on what I really want to do, because if I'm looking much stronger than them in my eyes, or what people were telling us, the routines we were having were complex. They were different from the Jackson 5 routine to when we did that boat routine with the Lenny Kravitz. Like, yes, like these are routines I remember, but it was like going to congresses at New York Congress, performing at a midnight showcase while we're in the back sleeping. And then right when they call us, all right, we're up, let's do this. You were giving us something that not many dancers still to this day could understand. It was just, you were giving us knowledge, you were giving us history at younger ages. So when we did ultimately transition and we all got into the Heartbreak Boys, we already had 3 to 4 years working with each other. And it was like, okay, now we're Heartbreak Boys. And you were then again, I mean, we had a few other teachers before then, but honestly, when you came along, for me, it was like, all right, I'm in my place now. I'm in that zone. I already know he's gonna get on me, and I'm just got to take it, because I know what's on the other side. I know there is the grass is much greener, and because again, like for me, and I'm honest with many people, like I was much closer to you than my own parents, because I was always in dance. That was my life. So when I don't get me wrong, I would listen to my parents, but when I came there and you said something, I might not have always agreed, but I was always going to listen at the end of the day. Even when you would call me Style and Diamond, and the others would look at me, it's like, okay, I get it. it was just me, I guess, that cry for attention of like, hey man, like I might be going through stuff at home or in school, but let me just let it out. And it wasn't intentional. It was always just like, I just need to let this energy out in any way possible. But
I knew, I knew that since you were little. I knew that, not that you were going through things in your home, but things were different. But I wasn't going to teach you, like, I mean, I wasn't going to feel sorry for you.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't going to feel sorry for you. I was going to, have this environment in the studio where you were going to be treated the same, or if not, a little bit more stricter. And that was done purposely. When I took over the Heartbreak Boys, I never wanted the Heartbreak Boys. I never wanted to go back and teach the Heartbreak Boys. But obviously, David passed away. And when he passed away, a lot of things transitioned. I was so lucky and fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with David Melendez before he passed away. He came to visit me in South America when I was doing a TV show, when I was an adult. So I kind of knew, like, if anything were to happen to him, what he wanted. And he spoke to me about it. And I was just like, nah, man, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. And so he passes away, and a lot of transitions are happening. We were very lucky and blessed to have, Willie Rodriguez, who we love very much, handle things and make sure things were going to run accordingly, right? Because this is, David told me, yo, anything happens, I need you to have this woman's back. Yes. Anything happens. And I'm like, David, stop talking like that, man. Like, just stop talking like that. Please stop. And that's what it was. He passed away. I was in Chile. Albert Torres called me when he passed away. I was just coming home from shoot. It was crazy. I was just coming home because they wanted to sign me for another year in the TV show. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I said, you know what? Let me think about it. I don't know if I wanted more money. I don't know what happened. But I came back to the house and I got that phone call. And when I got that phone call, man, it was like I left everything in Chile. I left everything to come back and be there for everyone in New York City. And so here I am. I got the Heartbreak Boys now. Willie's like, hey, I need you to handle the Heartbreak Boys. I moved back to New York for a whole year just to make sure things with Starlite were going right. Yeah. Erica and Eddie Camacho were running the school. And I come back, and I have you, the Junior Boys, as the Heartbreak Boys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like, you know what? I technically don't have the Heartbreak Boys. I just got my Junior Boys. They're just grown up. That's it. So our routines as Heartbreak Boys, they were money. It was like we just cranked them out like that. Crank. Yeah. You guys already knew how I worked. It was a lot of fun. And those were truly some of the most special years that I got to have with students, when I got to have you as a Heartbreak Boy as well.
Yeah, and for me, I guess when it transitioned into the Heartbreak Boys, I guess for us, especially then with David passing, we really were then put on a pedestal of, you guys, we had the Sweethearts, we had Fuerza Gigante, but also in that reality, the Heartbreak Boys were like seen as the top, or the group that's always performing and always being that example of the example of Starlite. Like, when you hear Starlite, you automatically, one of the first things is the Heartbreak Boys. Yeah. So with us, like, performing constantly, and you, like you said, cranking out routines for us, it just was like clockwork. Like, you would have to go somewhere. We have 3 days. We get it done. No matter what, we had to learn those routines. And it took a lot of sweat, a lot of blood, a lot of tears, a lot of run through. And I love, to be honest, was that with you never settled for less. Like, I love that even when we thought, we did it all right, you were just like, no, do it again and do it again, because I'm glad that you didn't spoil us. I mean, to be honest, it felt like being spoiled because we were able to learn from you. Thank you. It was like, for me, I felt like the groups of yesteryear, like New Edition and Jackson 5, of me watching, like, I would practice with you and then go home. And like when we did in Junior Boys, the Jackson 5, I was a big Jackson 5 fan. So I would watch these routines and be like, okay, that's what he's doing, and that's where I have to do this. And that was me. That was just different. But then in Heartbreak Boys, as we're getting older, and you yourself getting older, and you have more ventures and you have more businesses you're doing, we realized that we had to respect and really take advantage of the time we were getting with you.
Yeah.
Because we realized you were doing shows in Chile, you were doing different things, and it was like, hey, he's not always gonna be here. So we have to now more than ever take control. And then when David passed, and then also my grandmother passing, for me, it was like, you guys at that point were the only people that
And when your grandmother passed, it was like, it's weird. Like I didn't really fully, like it didn't hit me. Like I never mourned David till like, it's crazy. I years later, years later is when I mourned David, because when I moved back to New York, you know, I just finished filming the movie El Cantante. Right, it wasn't out yet. I'm doing this TV show in Chile. I'm like at this incredible point in my dance career, and I just dropped everything to be there for ya. You know, but like Willie mentioned, you know, we needed each other. I needed Starlite more than ever, you know, and I know it was the right decision, because even if I would have left, I went back, you know, we buried David and I went back, I would have been miserable. So I needed to come home, be with you guys, be with my roots, be with the studio that gave me the opportunity, try to do the best that I can, and be a male figure for everybody in that studio, because everybody was going through so much pain. So in that time, I didn't heal. That's the reality. In that time, I was just thinking about everybody else. I didn't think about myself. I didn't think about the pain I was going through. I didn't, until, you know, years later. It was like, whoa, David is not here. And I did a lot of things out of character when I left that year that I stayed in New York. I moved back to LA in 2008. I decided not to go back to South America. And, you know, there was just things out of character that I was doing because I didn't have my mentor. But thankfully, Albert Torres kept me busy. Albert Torres saw the pain that I was in, a lot of pain I was in, and Albert kept me super, super busy. And Albert said, man, look, we're going to do the best that we can for you. Make sure that you stay on track. I know you just lost your mentor, but you have another one here. And yeah. It's even though I was very lucky and blessed to have these mentors, but it was truly painful to lose my third parents. You know, it was truly painful to lose David Melendez, to lose Albert Torres, and to lose Alicia Gomez. I mean, it was painful because these were the people that, you know, like you know how you would come to me, well, I would go to them.
Yeah.
Right. And not only that, I never talked about the things that I had to do when they passed away. And I don't mind discussing it now, like the responsibility that I had, that Willie Rodriguez had when he passed away, in terms of like, this is what David wanted with his festival, with his Congress. Like, a lot of people don't know this, but I was the one that sold the New York Congress to Choco. That was me. You know, Choco one time told me he was doing a Congress with this social. What's this Club Cache on 47th Street?
46th Street, yes.
You know, we were. I was back home from Chile, and Choco was like, "Hey, I'm starting a Congress," and I'm like, "What? Why are you doing that for?" He goes, "Well, you know, I just want things to run differently, and I don't really like how Congresses are run in New York." And I said, "Did you talk to David yet?" He goes, "No, but you know, I'm going to talk to him about my move." I said, "Before you do that, let me talk to David." And at that time, David was sick, and David didn't have the strength anymore to do a Congress. And I felt like, man, this is the perfect opportunity for me to do something for my mentor, so he can like at least be peaceful and heal easier. And I was like, David, what if I can sell the New York Congress? He's like, what are you talking about? I would never sell the New York Congress. I said, listen to me, David. Listen to me for a second. If I can convince you to sell the New York International Salsa Congress, would you do it for this price? He goes, if you could do it for that, I'll give you a cut too. And I'm like, all right, bet. So I go back to Choco. And it was like this psychological game I was playing. I'm sorry. I was like, hey, Choco, what if I can get you the New York International Salsa Congress? He was like, no, that's going to be impossible. No, that's going to be impossible. I go, well, I mean, something like that is worth this much. But what if I could get it for you for this much? He was like, if you could get it for me for that much, Edwin, like, I'll love you forever. And I put the two in the room, and it happened. David was just so grateful. David was going to go live in Florida, open up a dance studio over there.
Yeah.
And he couldn't, first day that dance studio in Florida opened, there were people waiting there because he passed away.
Yeah.
David was super happy that he was moving to Florida. He was starting school there. He was just like his life was about to start again. I was so grateful. I was able to give that to him. And he was going to start this new life. Because I had hope that he was going to beat his cancer. I had a lot of hope. And he didn't. He wasn't able to live that dream. Choco did what he could with the New York Congress. And then how life is. Now I'm the artistic director of the New York International Salsa Congress. And I'm so, so proud that I'm a part of that team.
Yeah. And for me, I guess our stories really are really similar because, like you said, you had many figures of your life kind of taken away and the past. And going through David and then going through my grandmother. And then I had to be not just strong for me, I had to be strong for my family outside of dance. And I was the youngest, having to say, okay, I have to make sure that everything is situated and I still have to come back to this dance school and people are going to ask me questions about how I feel and I have to just internalize it. And then I have to go and still do these routines. And it was a lot. But then I had to say, and I never told you this, I knew that you felt that pain, but also I remember my grandmother's funeral. And I remember you were there. And I remember you and Eddie Camacho, you had grabbed me. And I guess I was kind of off to the side and I wasn't going anywhere near the casket. And I remember my dad was there and he was like just bawling. And I remember you guys grabbed me and you said, you need to be strong for him now. Because you didn't see, that was at that point I couldn't mourn. It was more about making sure everybody else was okay. Yeah. But I was the kid making sure everybody else was fine and everything was good. And it was you and it was the rest of the Heartbreak Boys and it was Willie and so many others that really just helped the process ease more for me. But I can say I was able to mourn privately. For me, that was my way of mourning. And, having you and having the other boys there during those tough times for us. And
crucial.
We had those bonding moments of just speaking to one another, going to Valerie's house and playing. And, not many other dance.
Calling Willie a wildebeest. Remember that? So why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? That's not even funny.
Oh my God!
A wildebeest. Remember?
But she'd be the same. But she'd be the same one that she'd say, "Oh, you're not getting in this fucking car, then. You better find your ass way to the performance."
Yeah, man. We were all. That time. Oof! I'm so grateful that we had each other that time. Even though I didn't mourn David's, but I think about it now. We were too busy making each other happy.
Yes.
We were really busy making each other happy, like really, really being there for each other. Everybody knew you were your grandmother's favorite. That was the honest truth. Everybody knew you were your grandmother's favorite. You were diamond. You were truly a diamond to your grandmother. And we just wanted to, especially me, I just really wanted you to never forget that. I really wanted you to never forget how special you were. So that's why I would be a little bit more harder on you than anybody else, because I didn't want you to forget that you're freaking amazing. Don't let your attitude, don't let a bad mood get in the way of you being this great artist, right? You being this great dancer. And I just kept my foot on the pedal. Like, nah, I'm not losing Diamond. I'm not going to lose him. He's not going to go off track here. And we, like I said, we all kept each other on track.
Yeah, and for me, it's like that definitely helped the transition and easing, and having people like Willie and having everybody just say that, hey, we're gonna protect you guys, because again, we were all teenagers, just vulnerable and just going through a tragedy after tragedy. It can make somebody go left instead of right, and I appreciate that you were
100%.
there and wanted us to do better. And for
Yeah.
me, it's like, and I say this before we go to the next topic with my grandmother, to see is that she was in Starlight, but also she was in Dancer's Dreams with Debbie. And she had my sister who was there, but to then see the impact that my grandmother laid, and they even had a award for her to give to students and families, because my grandmother gave so much of herself to make sure that me and my sister were successful. And for me to say, like, I started in 96 and now we're in 2020, and I'm still making sure that I'm part of this dance community in some format.
Yeah. Our
And that,
parents, like I said in the beginning, like our parents, people don't give them enough credit because they're our parents, right? They're always going to be there,
yeah,
right? And so we don't, thank you so much, Pam. I love you so much. Thank you. We don't, it's not that we take it for granted. It's just our parents are there, but
mhm,
they're really the ones that make the decisions to be around these amazing people. Like your grandmother made that decision to put you in Starlight with David. Like how
yeah,
that's a really, had she never made that decision, we wouldn't be here right now. Had my
yeah,
mother never made that decision, she would have never been here right. I wouldn't be here right now. So shout out to my mother and my father, who they're my top two heroes ever, ever, ever. My dad is the hardest working man I've ever known in my life. That's all he. This is all he knows, is to work. And my mother was just a loving, nurturing, amazing, amazing mom that a kid could ever ask for. And they made the right decisions for me, and that's what it's about. Like your grandma, she made the right decision. Like she would make the right decision to show up in my building in the Bronx, and
mm.
yell at my mom's window, "Elba, te tengo tu pasteles, baja!" And my mom will come downstairs and get her 2 dozen pasteles, you know, and just grab them, and I have the best pasteles ever from your grandma.
Yeah, man, and that's the thing too, is like that connection of, I didn't know the impact that my grandmother had, or the connection that she had with your family until later on,
Mhm.
because she would always,
Big time.
take her car and go.
My
But
mom and your grandma were always on the phone. Always. Always.
and that was something, and I tell you, this is before my grandmother passed. I remember, like, I would tell her, like, I didn't want to dance anymore sometimes because I was just going through stuff at school and everything, and she never really was upset. She was just kind of ignore it in a sense and say, okay, get ready, let's go. You got to go. You got to go to rehearsal with Edwin. And then she would always just say, if I was upset about something in rehearsal, she's like, but you need to listen to him. No matter what is going on, he knows what he's doing. And she would tell me this privately, because at sometimes I didn't know what I wanted to do, because, we're teenagers, but I'm grateful that, she impacted my life, and that you yourself, when she passed, we had that time privately to hang. And that was one of the most amazing days of my life. It was simple. We just hung out in Soho, but to have you there, a person that my grandmother loved with everything, and she would talk about you, and then just to be able to speak to you and just let you know how I was doing was great. And for me, it's like,
That
I
was, and again, that was, I that was way ahead of your time thinking.
mhm,
You know, your grandmother made sure that I was always happy.
yeah,
Because if I was always happy, you know, I just saw, wow, she truly cares about her grandson,
mhm,
right? Like she truly loves him. So I got to make sure that I give him that same love. Obviously, my version of it, but
mhm.
I got to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to make sure I I give him that same love, because I want her to be happy. I want her to be proud of him when he grows up, just like you're doing right now.
Yeah, and I definitely appreciate it, and and I love to see that. After, of course, Starlight, you definitely have worked to now create. I believe you had created your own Starlight in LA.
Yes, yes, yes.
I mean, for me, there's so much accolades and success that has come after Starlight in the Bronx. and I would love for you just to kind of tell the audience, like, the after Starlight in the Bronx, like the success and everything you've been doing since then.
I hope Facebook will allow us to stay that long, man. But I'll make it. I try to make it quick. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted to be an actor. That's what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to get into the entertainment business, but dancing was a huge part of my life. You know, it's not that I wanted to stop dancing, but I just wanted to be an actor. Like, like, my dream was like to be a extra in a Jennifer Lopez movie. Like, if you see me walking in the background, I would have been happy with that. You know what I mean? Because Jennifer Lopez was and will always be one of my biggest inspirations. You know, her being from Castle Hill, her leaving, like, J Lo inspired me to leave the Bronx. When she did it, I was like, yo, I can do this too. You know what I mean? So I leave the Bronx. I told you, I go to college, finish. I start working with Albert Torres. I go to Japan. That time when I went to Japan to live there to collect this money to pay for college, I'm trying to break into the Congress industry, you know, because Albert is not allowing me yet to break into his Congress. So that just means I got to do work for him to notice me. So all of a sudden I'm in Hiroshima, and this Japanese guy, you know, he knows that I love Roberto Rowena, so he takes me to his home, and his home is full of Fania All-Stars collectibles, right? Fania All-Star collectibles and videos and DVDs and old movies and posters. And I'm like, he sits me down in this little bitty, the size of your bathroom apartment, and he shows me Roberto Rowena in Africa when the Fania All-Stars performed for the Rumble in the Jungle, 1972, Zaire, Africa. And this was 2003, 2003, summer, yes. And Albert had told me that he's bringing Rowena in 2004 for LA Congress. It's confirmed. So Roberto Rowena is my #1 musical inspiration. Like, I grew up with salsa and all that stuff, and I'm so blessed I got to see Hector Lavoe live. It was beautiful, thanks to my parents. But when I hit a certain age, I really didn't like the music. Even though I was dancing in Starlight, I still wasn't in love. Excuse me. I still wasn't in love with the music.
Yeah.
Until I heard Roberto Rowena. You know, when I heard Coro Mi Are by the Fania All-Stars, and I heard Cuando corre la sangre en mi vena, cuando toca Roberto Rowena, which my aunt gave me that CD, and then I asked my mom who Roberto Rowena was. She told me. I was a big fan. Albert Torres, in 2001 LA Salsa Fest, he allowed me to meet Roberto Rowena for the first time. I met him. 2004 comes around. I gotta do a tribute for him.
Yes.
I gotta do something for Roberto Rowena. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do like a medley of 4 or 5 songs and just dance to it, a solo with a partner. I didn't know yet, but I saw this VHS. Sorry, I saw this VHS and I said, "This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna imitate Rowena, dress like him, dance like him, and it's gonna be his video next to me." So I go back to Los Angeles. I told Albert about the idea. Albert gives me a pair of bongos. I get one lesson from a guy named Papo Rodriguez. He taught me the basic, and an incredible, incredible musician. But he's one of those like, all right, here's this one lesson. I'm not gonna ever teach you again, so you better learn what you get from me. He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Which I love that hard. I just love that. So I learned the basics, and then from there, I just started teaching myself with the sticks on the pillow, teaching myself. I knew I just knew the pop sound was the small side of the bongo, and the do side was the big part of the bongo. So I just taught myself how to play. You know, that wasn't even hard. Learning how to dance like Rowena, that was incredibly hard. But come time to LA Salsa Fest, we were good to go. I messed up the first time at tech rehearsal. Albert was like, "You're not ready for prime time." So he took me out of prime time, me out, and he made me open up the show in there was 2 shows. The first evening show and then the second evening show. And that second evening show was like, oh my God. It's like, oh my God. If you performed in that second evening, you were amazing. And Albert put me in there because the idea he thought was amazing. But I choked in that tech rehearsal. I choked so bad. I was so nervous. So he put me to open up, and I go and I tear it down, tear the house down. You know, I never had so many promoters run backstage to book me for festivals for their congress. And I was like, no, 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 no. I'm not doing this at congresses. I just did this for Rowena here. It was a tribute for him. But I found out that he was told I was performing in that second set. So he didn't see me. So my goal was, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this until one day Rowena's going to watch me one day. And from there, my career took off in the Latin dance community. My career took off. It was incredible. I was dating a dancer named Stephanie Stevenson at the time. And as my career was taking off, as I was traveling, right, all of a sudden, unfortunately, her father passes away, and she's Chilean. So her dream is to like go to Chile and perform. And she got this opportunity to perform in Chile in her roots. And she's like, hey, can you come with me? We're doing just one show. And I'm like, oh, all right, let's just go. Let me just go meet your family in Chile. We go. We were young. And one show, they called us back and they said, hey, we're doing this like American Idol with dancers type of deal show. And we want you to stay for this TV show. And I'm like, hold on. I'm not staying. I'm leaving. I'm out. So I leave. She leaves. And she's like, look, if you love me, I'm gonna be in Chile.
Yeah.
I want to do this TV show. If not, stay in LA. So she left first, and I'm like, damn, like I'm booked for all these events. This Roberto Romana routine is going off the charts. It's everywhere. Right? Love makes you do, or what you think love is at that age, makes you do crazy things. So I go to Chile, and I go to this TV show, and I sign. And I go to this TV show. At that time in South America, the only way they respected you in a dance career was if you went to school for ballet, for jazz. They did not respect street dancing. They did not respect hip hop. They did not respect salsa at all. And for this TV show, you had to have technique. But the producers knew that I was going to go on that TV show and disrupt the whole country. They already knew I was going to disrupt the whole country. And that's what I did. I really believe that I was the first person in that country to teach every street dancer that they can make a living with their dance. You know, you have people like the Power Peraltas, you know, two guys who, if you look them up, Power Peraltas, they have the biggest studios all over in Chile. They were in music videos. But these boys were in the hood, didn't think that they were going to make it. And they saw me on TV telling kids, look, I'm sorry, I'm a salsa dancer, and I'm making more money than any technical dancer here on this TV show. Like I was just like, I was ratchet like that.
Yeah.
I didn't care, because you weren't gonna knock me. You were not gonna suppress or try to dilute that that an actual dream can happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like you were not gonna hide that. Like I come from the streets. I am from the hood. I came from a family that did not have that much money. Just like all of you in this country, most of you, y'all can make it. Don't let nobody tell you that. And then you see kids in the corners, man, break dancing. You see kids doing, and I would walk in these streets and I needed bodyguards. Because the minute people saw me, it was just like,
yeah.
And these kids would come up to me and goes, mira, yo estoy bailando en la calle porque tú dijiste que yo puedo hacerlo, right? So people are now dancing in the streets for change. And it was crazy. And like this phenomenon of this Puerto Rican coming into Chile happened. And it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful to a beautiful experience. We were live every day at 6:00 on the Rec TV, on TV, Canal TV Chile, or I forgot, TVN, Televisión Nacional de Chile. I was given my own apartment there. Like they gave me my own apartment. I was living a great life. Unfortunately, like couples, you separate. Stephanie went back to Los Angeles, and I decided to stay. I decided that I needed to finish my mission in Chile, and that was to really end that stigma of you needing to go to school or be a professional ballet dancer to make a living off of this. So I changed that mindset. I think not only in Chile but in South America,
Yeah.
there was no on-to dancing in Chile. None. None. There
Yeah.
were people were kind of dancing, but like they would pay you like $2 a class when I was there. So I went in there and I changed that. Ricardo and Karen, they were
Yeah.
dancing in the streets for change, right? I saw them. Albert, you need to check these kids out, and that's how they would. That's how
Wow.
there's a lot that people
Yes.
don't know about what I've done for
Hmm.
people or for this industry, but I don't do it for the recognition. I never have. I never will. I
Yeah.
just do this because I want this to continue to inspire others. Like I want this to still be here for my daughter. And then obviously things went so well in Chile.
Hmm.
Albert says, "I need you to come down to this gig, Chicago Congress. I need you to come down. You gotta do this gig." So I do this gig in Chicago International Salsa Congress. Maria Torres is the director of the show. Maria Torres, Broadway Maria Torres.
Yes. Yes.
She's the director of the show, and she's tough, man. She's tough. And again, like all my tech rehearsals with Joel Toromena flopped. All my tech rehearsals were terrible. Always. It was always like that, right? Because at that time, nobody used a freaking projector for their show.
Yes. The
Nobody.
technicality.
So technology wasn't as easy as it is today back then. But there goes Edwin wanting to do something, different outside the box. So technical difficulties. Maria was like, you know what? You're not going on the show. And Albert was like hell, he's not. He's going on the show. Like Albert risked because after that year, he was never asked to come back again to Chicago because he really risked his position to make sure that this routine that you hired him for is going to be the best routine in the whole festival. He told people that, but I made sure not to disappoint him. So finally, when Maria saw that performance, she said, "Albert, I'm really sorry. I made you guys go through a hard time. Edwin, that was incredible." I go back to Chile. Maria doesn't know I'm living in Chile at all. And she's in a meeting, and they're doing El Cantante. And the director, Lian Ichazo, says, "We want to recreate the Cheetah Club. We know that Joel Torowena danced in the Cheetah, but there's no footage of it. But we saw him dance in Africa. So, can we somehow fuse this footage?" And Maria was like, "Okay, I see what you want to do," but she kind of stood back. They had an audition for that part to find Rowena. They couldn't find them. Nobody could dance like Rowena. The names that went to that audition, if I tell you, you'd be blown away. They were just like stumped. And finally, Maria goes, "I got the guy. What's wrong with me?" So Maria's looking all over for me in New York City. She doesn't know I live in Chile. And she finds my mom. And my mom goes, "Are you Edwin Rivera's son?" She goes, "Yeah, we need your son here like tomorrow. We need him here tomorrow. Where is he?" It's like, "He's in Chile right now." He's like, "Well, we need him tomorrow because he has an automatic book to be Joel Torowena in the movie El Cantante. No audition, no nothing." So I just finished doing my TV show in Chile. I just finished, 8 o'clock. I'm going back to my condo. It's like 8:30, right? Because, it takes, I got to sign a few autographs outside the TV station, walk to my crib, and then chill. So my mom calls me, "Mijo, que viene para la película El Cantante. Dice que tú tienes que estar aquí mañana, pero yo no sé cómo tú vas a llegar." What? I was like, "Don't worry about it, mom. I'll never forget this time. I'll never forget." Shout out to Edwin Ferreras, brother. I love you. Thank you so much for all your beautiful words, man, and everything you do for this community. Thank you for watching. The love that I got for you, man, is just incredible. Thank you. Anyway, so we go, and I find the flight for Delta Airlines leaving at 10:40 p.m. So I'm on the phone with my mom like at 8:40, and you got to be in the airport 2 hours prior.
Yeah.
I said, the only way I'm going to catch that flight if I just show up with nothing. So I purchased the flight. And I literally showed up to the airport because it was summer at that time. Shorts, a t-shirt, my passport. That's it. That's it. I just showed up. Boom. And it's winter. And it's in New York. And I'm like freezing. I arrive and it's freezing. So thank God my mom gets my stuff. She gets me things. I get to the apartment. I go to the rehearsal with Maria. Edwin, you good? I go, yeah, this is what I want to do. I go there with a different idea, and God bless Maria. Maria goes, okay, if you want to do that, I'll let you do it. You got it. No problem. Do it. All good. Do it. So the next day, this story is crazy. The next day, the New York MTA goes on strike. The movie's being filmed at Webster Hall. It's around 16th Street, like deep in Manhattan, right? So the movie's being shot there. Those of you in New York City, you guys know that when the MTA went on strike that year, everything was closed. Everything was closed. Like you couldn't go into Manhattan. For those of you that are not from New York, Manhattan is an island. So if you're living in the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, Long Island, you gotta get on the bridge to get to Manhattan or a tunnel from New Jersey. Somehow, some way, you got to make that connection to go in Manhattan. And they closed off everything because since there was no transportation, they didn't want to flood the city with cars.
Yeah.
So my father drives me. I got my Rowena costume. I got my bongos. I got everything ready to go. And the cops stop us at 125th Street. They're like, what are you doing? Oh, officer, I got a movie to shoot with Jennifer Lopez and Mark Anthony. Like, I got to be there. They're like, and the officer was being funny. He goes, oh, then they should have got a helicopter for you. Like, he didn't believe me.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they should have got a helicopter for you. Tell them you're not going to make it because we're not going to let you through. And, you know, when he said that to me, it was like so, I don't know, it was so inspirational when he said that to me. I was like, oh, really? Okay. So my father was like, look, man, I don't want no trouble. Let's just go back home maybe next time. I was like, Papi, there's not going to be a next time. I'm sorry. So I take the bongos. I had no gloves on. It was snowing. It was a snowstorm that day. I take my bongos with the bongo stand. The bongos were in the case, but not the bongo stand. The bongo stand, I remember this. It's metal. It was all metal. So I'm carrying I'm carrying my costume, bongo stand, freezing fingers, the bongos in the case, super heavy. And I walked from 125th to 19th Street. And I was stopping. Like every 25 blocks, I was stopping because I was just like so cold. And 19th Street, man, I couldn't do it no more. I couldn't walk. Like I just couldn't find Webster Hall. And I just got in a corner and I was just shriveling and I was just crying. Like I kind of gave up because I was just freezing. Man, and by the grace of God, this bam just pulls up and opens the door and says, are you with the film El Cantante? I guess because he saw all the instruments on me. And I just look up and I'm just like, yeah, I am. You know, he goes, get in. They come in, they get my stuff. And I just they go, put your hands on there. And I put my hands on the heater in the passenger side. And I'm just like just getting my hands up all warmed up and stuff like that. And the driver, we got him. He's here. And I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? Like, are they waiting? Are they waiting? So all of a sudden, I come out the van. They open the doors. And who's waiting for me? Jennifer Lopez and Mark Anthony.
Wow.
They're the first two waiting for me. And Jennifer was just like, oh my God, how'd you get here? Like, they kind of knew, how'd you get here? And I'm like, I walked. And she goes, where'd you walk from? We heard you're from the Bronx. I said, nah, I just walked from 125th. And they were like, what? And Mark was like, baby, this is the guy I was telling you about. You know, Maria Torres showed me the video, and Maria Torres showed us who this guy was. And this is the guy, babe. This is the guy, babe. She's like, oh my God. And then the hairdresser was like, well, we got to get you. We got to get you to the salon. We got to fix your hair. We got to do everything. And they just take me away from Jennifer and Mark. Take me away real quickly. I go downstairs. And I grew out an afro just for that Revuelto Rowena routine.
Mm-hmm.
I grew out an afro just for that routine. So I never cut my hair because until Rowena watched me, until he watched me, I was gonna keep doing this routine with my own hair. So the stylist goes, okay, so how are we doing this? Are you gonna wear a wig or do you want to wear your hair? I was like, I'm wearing my hair for this.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my hair. So they changed the costume up. They didn't want to use the one I had. They put me in a red one. I fit in beautifully. Crazy shit. So I don't know what to expect. And I freaking go up on the stage. And there's literally like 1,000 people, 1,000 extras just screaming. I didn't know. But that scene was just filmed for me. That scene was just filmed for me. And on the schedule, we were supposed to film that. It was supposed to take 3 to 5 days to film that scene, right? They just wanted to make sure that that scene was captured. So I get there, and word was going around that they were going to cancel that day if I didn't show up. And I showed up. I showed up, played the music. It was over. It was over. Like this is the reason why I walked over 100 blocks. This is the reason why, right here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And after we finished, I'll tell you a quick joke. After we finished, I'm just around these superstars, and everybody's conversating on their own, and I'm just quiet. I'm just quiet in my own little corner. And Mark comes up to me and he goes, "Yo, you think you're better than anybody?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "Well, no. What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, we're all conversating over there. Why are you not conversating with us?" "Oh, because y'all know each other, and I don't want to. I'm just here. I just want to do my part." "Oh, so you're just thinking about yourself right now?" You know, we could change you right now if you want. You don't have to be a part of this. I'm thinking I'm saying all the wrong things, but Mark Anthony's a prankster. So I'm like, no, please don't take this opportunity away from me. No, I'll go talk with you right now. He goes, "Oh, I'm just fucking with you guys. I'm just fucking with you, man. Just come join us." And then from there, he brings me in his crew, and we're talking, and it's Jennifer's getting to know me. I tell her what I'm doing in Chile, and she's just floored that I came all the way from Chile to do this for them. They were so appreciative. Then her management stayed in touch with me. We skipped, red carpet. J-Lo made sure that I was with her at the red carpet with Mark. I got those pictures. It was really, really beautiful because she knew that was my first ever red carpet.
Yeah.
That was my first ever red carpet. I got to sit next to Rowena at the Puerto Rico red carpet, watching El Cantante. He cried because he was so proud.
Yeah.
He was in a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was in a movie. Like, he felt like I can die happy. Like, my dream has always been to be in a Hollywood film, and you portrayed me in there. So he was just super, 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 super happy. And it was history after that. And then, obviously, Jennifer asked, "What do you want to do from here?" And I said, "Well, I want to be an actor. I want to go to acting school." So her management made sure to give me some money to pay for acting school. Because after we shot the movie, I went back to Chile. Right?
Okay.
A lot of producers in the film said, "Hey, we got some more opportunities for you. Why don't you stay?" But I had a commitment, man. David always taught me, like, if you are committed to something, whether it's for $1 or for $1 million, whoever hired you first, that's what you do. Straight up. It was like that. You know how many more opportunities I missed when I lived in when I moved back to New York after Chile. I missed opportunities with Pepsi, Coca-Cola, commercials. Like, but you know what? Like, I don't regret it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I create those opportunities. You know what I mean? Like, that opportunity with El Cantante, no, it wasn't an opportunity. I created that for myself. Because had I not walked from 125th to 19th Street, you know what I'm saying? It would have never happened. Period. Yes, it was there, but the sacrifice I had to do to have it. So I knew, you know what? I might miss him, but I'll get him back. So I moved back to Chile. David passes away. I moved back to New York. The movie comes out while I'm in New York City. The movie comes out. And then it was history after that. Then it was just like, see, that sacrifice I made to go to do this TV show, right when I did this Roberto Rowena routine, without the movie, I missed all these opportunities. I missed all these congresses. But then when this movie came out, it was like I got more and then some. You know, I moved after I had my business with in New York with you guys. I moved back to LA, finished acting school, and I didn't really pursue it anymore. Um, I just never liked having someone be in control of my opportunities. Like I never liked that. Like I never liked, okay, my career and my life is in your hands. You know, so I would go to these auditions, and shout out to my agency Black at the time. Like they would send me to auditions, and I would book. It would be rare when I didn't book something. I would book stuff for Ashton Kutcher. I'd book State Farm commercials. Like it was like I was booking stuff, but I just didn't like that feeling of, am I not good enough? Like when you go to these when you go to these auditions, man, you know, sometimes it's not even about your talent that gets it. It's not. It's not about your talent. And I'm sorry, but this is not going to define my career. Like I'm not going to be that artist hoping that I get this big opportunity, and I hope that it'll work. That's not who I am. I'll go to these auditions. I'll make it happen. But in the meantime, until that pops off, I'm gonna be making my own legacy.
Yes.
You know, I'm making my own legacy. I'm doing my thing. I'm traveling the world. I'm like going all over the world with Albert. Albert is super, super, super proud of me. And we just tear the roof off, man, everywhere. And that same year, 2000, summer of 2007, I want to say, 2007. No, 2006, summer of 2006. Puerto Rico Congress, Roberto Rowena finally saw me perform a routine. I had no idea he was going to be there. I had no idea. Tito Oltos and David Melendez made sure that Roberto Rowena was going to be there to watch me perform that number. And I remember I'm going up the stairs, about to do it, and I look to the front, and I see Roberto Rowena sitting in the front. Like he's just
waiting.
sitting there. Oh man, he's just sitting like with his fist just crossed, just watching me. And I just go, oh shit, I gotta make this count.
Yeah.
And that year, the organizer of that Congress didn't want me to close the show. He didn't want me to close the show, right? Because he didn't know me. He didn't want me to close the show. And Albert had just got back into that Congress as the MC. And again, Albert risked his position in that Congress for me. He said, this kid's closing. Don't bring me back next year. I don't MC, and he close. Or if he doesn't close, I'm not MCing. So when he put that pressure on that organizer, the organizer had no choice.
Yeah.
And when I midway through the routine, Rowena stands up and he's freaking crying, and he just has his arms open, and I come off the stage. What am I supposed to do? Leave him with his arms hanging out? Jump off? I hug him. He's crying on me. I go, you know what? Let me go back on the stage. I go back on the stage, finish the routine. People are just screaming. People are like standing on the table screaming. It's like it was the most craziest thing. Rowena comes on stage. He can't talk. He's choked up. So all of a sudden, the crowd goes, que baile, que baile, que baile, que baile. I'll post that video up one day. I have it. Que baile. So I go, Rowena goes, vamos bailar. He has a rasp in his voice. So he goes, bailamos. And I go, sí. Rowena, tú puedes hacer split. Can you still do a split?
Oh.
And Rowena goes, ¿qué tú crees que yo puedo hacer un split? Cabrón, tú vas a ver que yo puedo hacer un split. Like, watch me, I can do a split, You're going to see I can do a split. So we do, two Rowena basics, spin, and we split together on the floor. Tore the roof off. Tore the roof off. And I walk off the stage, and First person there, biggest smile. The first person was David Melendez. And you know, his words to me were, his words to me were, I knew you were always going to be a star, kid. I knew it. I knew you were going to be a star. You know, and out of everybody in that room, out of everybody, like, he was the one I wanted to make the most proud. Out of everybody, you know what I mean? Like, he was going, you know, he was sick, and I didn't know how much time I had left with him.
Yeah.
And I just wanted him to know that he did such an amazing job on this earth in the little time that he had with us, with all of us. You know, I just wanted him to know that, like, I didn't want him to, like, leave this earth and feel like I didn't do anything. You know, I didn't do much. And I just wanted to give him that in that performance. And I was able to do that. And Rowena saw it. And from there, I just started establishing relationships with everybody, man. Like, all these Fania legends. I got to, you know, I had my own room in Rowena's house. You know, I have my own room in Ismael Miranda's house. I have, like, you know, I have Bobby Valentin, Alberto Santiago, like, all the living members of the Fania. Like, these guys are all just, they're my family. I'm 36 years old, but I'm a baby to them. You know, I'm their baby, and they're people I look up to now. So I do my best to take care of them. Like, these musicians are still alive. So, like, when I could get them a gig, I'm getting them a gig. You know, I'm going to send them here. I'm going to send them there. And I always keep those guys busy, man. I always keep all those legends busy. Thank God with the opportunities that I have as an artistic director with the events I help direct. And that's just what I want to do. I want to continue to make David proud. I want to continue to make Albert Torres proud, who you know, who's also another mentor that left me as well. So, who passed away, not left me, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And for me, it's like, listening to the story, it affects me so much because I saw the connection that you and David had. I saw, or I've heard of the stories that with you and Albert, and realizing that they have given so much to you, inspiring you to become better. But then now you, you know, infecting your students and infecting the people you meet with such good vibes and inspiration, because people realize is that, you know, it's those legends, it's those figures of authority, it's those adults in our life that really can shape our outlook. And, you know, for me to know David personally as well, David always wanted the best for us. And David infected us so much with love that when there was that funeral, like, the emotions were so flooding. And for me, it was very hard, because this was one man that I appreciated so much, like yourself.
Thank you.
And for me, it was like, you know, losing him and then saying, okay, I have to make sure that I listen to everything Edwin has to say, because he knows, just like, because you would tell us the stories of how you would just annoy the hell out of him just to gain everything you could. I said to myself, that's what I wanted to do, because I knew I was a dancer, but I knew there was going to come a point in time when I wanted to transition and help the community in more ways than one. I wanted to be a dancer no matter what, but then I realized I wanted to branch out. I became a videographer. Then, you know, for me now doing this platform and having people like you on and be able to share your stories, that's what's it about. And, you know, having David, having Albert create events just like he did in Japan, he did in Texas, he did all over the US and abroad, that speaks so much volumes. And then you are honestly just a splitting image, and you're doing what you're helping children, you're creating programs. And then with the Fania All Stars, then, allowing them to gain more opportunities. And that's what David did. That's what Albert did. And that's what you're doing. And, seeing now that you're working with Aventura Dance Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
You now have Sigue El Sol. And, these are two events specifically, and also the New York International Salsa Congress, being artistic director. This is stuff.
Texas Salsa Congress.
Texas Salsa Congress.
South Africa,
Mhm.
Japan Salsa Congress. These are, I'm just trying to create opportunities for everybody.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to create opportunities for everybody, the same that were created for me. That's just basically it. It's just I owe that to them. Even though sometimes it can get hard. It can get hard. The difference between me, David, and Albert, in terms of, I'm 36 years old, and I'm raising a daughter.
Yes.
Right. That comes into play a lot now. That totally rewires everything. When they were doing their thing, they had their kids, but their kids were older already, right? They didn't come home to kids and raise a kid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference now. So I really have to really be smarter about things I'm a part of, things I create. It has to mean, it doesn't mean nothing for me, but it has to make sense for my daughter. That if dad's going to take any time away from being away from Phoenix, Estrella, then it better be worth it. And
Yes.
that's kind of what my mindset is. I think I don't want to say I've done everything I could, but I'm just very, very, very selective now. Very, very selective. And that's why, I'm no longer with Aventura Dance Cruise since 2000. I want to say since 2018. I resigned. Okay. I resigned. For me, and maybe this might be my Achilles heel, but it's never, 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 never about the money.
Yeah.
It's not about the money for me. It's not. Nah. You know what I mean? And I'm also part of the Baltimore International Salsa Bachata Congress.
Yes, with Raj.
With Raj and Dola.
Yes.
So I'm very blessed to be part of the events that move our country. I really believe that. They move our country. I'm proud to be behind closed doors and to give and to see the new generation, to see the new dancers, to see this bachata scene evolve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm very lucky, man. I'm very lucky, and I'm still so young, and I still have a lot to do. I still have a lot to do. I still have a lot of lives to change. But like I said, my daughter comes into play now.
Yeah.
I am a family man. So everything just has to make sense now. It's no longer like doing things blindly. Okay, yep. I'll do it.
Yeah, and then see what happens.
And see what happens. No. That left a long time ago.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, I believe, honestly, as we grow, and now you becoming a family man, I mean, to me, I always am going to say that you really are not just an idol, but a hero to me, because you saw me when you knew me since I was young, and you always looked after me. But for me, it was now saying, I want to look towards you, and I want to look towards your success and learn from it. It's not about being, because I remember one thing you always told us since Heartbreak Boys, since Juniors, don't be like me, be better than me.
That's right. That's right.
And I always remembered that, because, we saw your success from the beginning, but you always put it and instilled in us that to be better than you are, because
that's right. That's what makes me happy, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what makes me happy. Like, to see people that I've helped do better than me, then I've done my job. I don't want to see a bunch of me around. I don't. Like, when Charlie Garcia mentioned, man, you inspired us all. Look at the incredible work people like Charlie Garcia are doing. Look at the incredible work that, Leo Rivera, Bud, is doing. I mean, look at the incredible work of so many people that they say that I inspired them. Like that, man, like you could literally die happy. Like that's my success. I'm not one, like, and I say this, I might not have the most followers on social media. I might not have the most views, probably. You know what I'm saying? Because whatever. But the people who do watch me and the people who do look up to me and the people who do respect me, those are the people moving the world right now, man. Those are
Yes.
the people that are like, killing it right now. So their success is my success.
Yep.
Like when I see somebody super successful and I know I've influenced them, that's me on that stage. That's my success. I believe in that. That's my success. Like I would never like, I don't know, like I would never look at someone or that word like jealousy or that like
Mhm.
I can't, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like when people use the word hater. Like I don't like when artists talk about, oh man, like these haters, oh I got haters, or like I just go, dude, like why are you worried about them?
Yeah.
Like you need to worry about your lovers. That's who you need to work for. How come we don't talk about the lovers? To all my
Yeah.
lovers, let's talk about all. Let's talk about all the lovers out there. They don't get that much recognition.
No.
We don't talk about like that shit is crazy. Like we don't talk about like I don't mind talking about David Melendez, Albert Torres, Roberto Rowena. Like they shaped me. They
Yes.
shaped me. I don't mind posting about them. I don't mind talking about them.
Hmm.
Like I don't. That doesn't make me any less. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, you know, even like for me, like even if you see something on the internet and you see someone and that influences you on your brand, like yo, give them a shout out. Like I just
Yeah.
saw this video, man. Wow, those shines were give them a shout out. Like say something. Don't
Yes.
get inspired and try to act like it's yours. Because what happens is it's not about the recognition. No, no, no. It's not about the recognition. It's just keeping everyone's legacies alive. Like I
Yes.
want to keep Albert's legacy alive. I want to keep David Melendez's legacy alive. So
Yeah.
that's why I will never deny that they were my inspiration, and I look up to them. And I looked up to Ismael Ortero.
Yes.
Ismael Ortero, Jesus Christ! When I saw that man go into a social in a N1 jumpsuit,
Oh
when
my
David
God.
when David Melendez was making me wear freaking buttoned up shirts that I didn't want to wear and these slacks, I see Ismael coming in there with a sweatsuit, killing it, and I'm like, oh my God, who is that guy?
Yeah.
At a Mamo social. Thank you so much, Abby Crockett,
Yes.
for that social. We had socials and we would see these people and a Tomas Guerrero, like those two men outside of David were like, oh, they were like gods, and they still are everywhere. When I speak to them, I speak to them like a mentee.
Mm.
Doesn't matter where I'm at in my success. Like, they will always be mentors to me and people I look up to, and I
Yeah.
respect people like that. And now I'm very grateful that I have an incredible man. The owner of Monster Products. He just sent me these headphones. Thanks, no, thank you
Oh,
so much.
I love it. I
You
love
know,
them.
he's this guy's. He's the creator of Beats by Dre, for God's sakes. And this guy now is just, super invested into what I want to do in the future, into what I want to do in my future. Him and Albert Torres had a great relationship. So yeah, I gotta recognize these people, man.
Yeah.
And if I missed anybody, I'm so sorry. Just know that I'm doing my best to remember everybody. But there's just so many people who are very influential in my life, and I'll never forget them. And I really hope that this new generation out there, they take pride in talking about their parents. They take pride in talking about just people that changed their life. They take pride in that.
Yeah. No, it's true. And for me, like to hear from you, just the humility and the respect, and it is something that I don't think just lacks in our dance community, but lacks in humanity a lot, because a lot of people choose that if you're shouting someone out, then what are they doing for me? It's not always about what someone else is doing for you. Just if you have a love or a passion for something, and you see someone that's in that same field that's doing just that, maybe even more, it is okay to give some love to them. Like for me,
Of
like we
course.
were talking about Charlie Garcia, I met Charlie years ago. At one point, I was teaching him briefly, but this gentleman here, I love him deeply because he is one of those people in our dance scene that paid respects to people, that took the time to learn, that really just like they really went through the grind to get where they are, and they deserve all of the love that comes their way. Just like yourself in saying that with Edwin, with David, and with Albert, and with Abby, you're giving so much props to these people because they ultimately deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times with interviews or discussions like this, a lot of people are saying, "Wow, I've never heard of this person. Allow me to research that." And that right there helps bring knowledge. And even you saying now working with Monster Products, I love that, because you're seeing how our dance community has flourished so much that mainstream is really paying attention.
Of course, they are. They are paying attention, but you gotta. But how do I say this? They'll pay more attention if we're more together.
Yes.
Right? This scene. Thank you so much, Jackie, for your words. I love you so much. Thank you, Jackie. This scene is still fairly new, and unfortunately, if you go to like the hip hop scene, if you go to like bigger dance communities,
Yeah.
There's always going to be politics involved everywhere, but there is more of a unity, outside of this business. Unfortunately, in our community, and this is unfortunately, and I'm sorry, it's very easy for someone to feel like someone. It's very easy. And here's what I like, if you can put a video up and maybe the video goes viral and you've only been dancing 6 months or a year, you take that and you translate that into, oh man, I can be professional. Oh man, look at all these comments I'm getting. Look at all these phone calls I'm getting. Look at all these text messages I'm getting. I don't think you should ever take in your life. No person's comment should ever make you, how do I say this? Make you take a shortcut to go where you need to be. Like, I was given amazing compliments my whole life, but I never took a shortcut. I was there the whole time. All right, this is what I got to do, then I'm doing it. This is it. All right, then I'm doing it. Oh, okay, thank you for the compliment, but I'm not ready for that. There were a bunch of dance schools that were trying to ask David, hey, when he finishes high school, can we get him? And they would talk to me behind David's back, and I would go, I'm good, thank you so much, I'm okay, I'm fine. I never wanted to take that shortcut. I never thought, ooh, if I go there, I'll be seen more. Or, ooh, if I do this, I'll be seen more. Like, so many promoters were like, if you, just like anything, some people love you, some people don't. Hi, mommy, you just woke up from your nap?
Oh, Phoenix is up?
Oh, she just woke up. You want to say hi to everybody? You want to say hi? Come. Okay, sorry, everybody. She has her.
No problem.
She has her dad's afro. You want to say hi? Say hi. Can you say hi to Diamond? No, Bobo. Can you say hi? Oh no. Give me the ball. Okay, Bobo. Okay, I'm sorry. Say hi to everybody. Say hi. Can Mono say hi? Hi, everybody. See, Mono said hi. Mono, can you say
hi? She looks so much like you.
All I wanted was her dad's hair. That's all I wanted. She can have everything else. I love you. Say bye-bye. Dale beso, Dani. Go, dale beso. Oh, thank you for the beso, mommy. Thank you. Ding. I love you, mommy. Thank you, baby.
Oh man, Edwin, I thank you. Like, just having this experience, just it really is. It's a timeless experience,
Yeah. And yeah, that's why, like I told you, I live a certain way in my life. I live a certain way, and that's very specific since I was young. Anybody who's known me since I was a kid, and I'm very proud of this. I'm super proud of this. If you've known me since I was 15, 14, 13 years old, I'm 36 right now. You talk to me, that 13, 14-year-old is still there.
Yeah.
He's still there. I made sure that no matter what success I had in my life, it wasn't going to change. I was still going to be the same person. Was I going to get smarter as I got older? 100%. I was going to get smarter. And that's where I'm at. Like, if we can get, when Albert Torres passed away, it's crazy. Like, every time something was about to happen, for me, something major happened in my life where I had to start over. Chile was going great. I had these opportunities after the movie El Cantante. David passes away, right? I hurt my leg. I partially tore my PCL, and I started making music. I was out for 9 months making music. I wanted to always produce music. My laptop was stolen at LA Salsa Fest. I was super devastated. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get a laptop. Thank you, everybody, for your beautiful words on Phoenix. Gracias, gracias.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, she's a little frizzy. She just woke up. So I made the best. I always made the best of every situation. MTA is closed. I walk 100 blocks. My laptop is stolen. I'm going to get a laptop with the best music producing programs in it. And I'm gonna be a music producer.
Yeah.
And like if whoever stole my laptop, I always say this: thank you for stealing my laptop, because I would never would have made that decision until that happened to me. So I'm making music, and one hobby led into being signed to an independent label. We released my first album, Soul of a Dancer, and now that totally took a whole different turn in my career. Now the new generation, they're no longer, they don't even know that I danced, man.
Yeah.
They only know, oh, that's the guy that made the song Beautiful. That's the guy that made the song Cuando Yo Te Vi. That's the guy that made that album Soul of a Dancer. Like, I was the first dancer to produce, mix, and master their entire album. I arranged everything myself. You know what I'm saying? The musicians I worked with, I told them how to play in my songs. So I was just super, super proud of that. I always wanted to be the first in a lot in this business. That's what just drove me, Like, I always wanted to give you guys such high goals, so that when I told you to be better than me, like, it was going to be really hard to be better than me. But if you could surpass that, because I know you guys will, then again, my job is great. And unfortunately, people were playing my music, but like, I wanted more people to play my music. I wanted DJs to play my music. Like, come on, can y'all play my music? And no DJs wanted to play my music. So guess what? I turned the bad into a good. I said, and I'm going to teach myself how to DJ.
Yes.
So I was, I guess, one of the few DJs that actually would DJ a whole set at the time when I first started in 2013 as a DJ. My whole set was all of my original music. Like, nobody was doing that shit at that time. Nobody. I don't know if people were playing remixes or whatever, but I was playing all original music, all original from the beginning to the end, right? And the Aventura Dance Cruise gave me that opportunity to DJ for my first time.
Yeah.
So then my DJing career took off. I'm playing at, like, crazy festivals. I'm getting invited, by the people who run Coachella just to come and see, the production side of things, and I'm really getting deep into the music industry, and I get a call that Albert Torres is in the hospital. I'm about to, like, go crazy. We're about to sign with Spinning Records. It's gonna be dope. My DJ career is about to take off. Albert falls in the hospital, and I had to drop everything. We were at, my wife and I were at Coachella at the time, and we dropped everything and drove back. And Albert passed away. So then again, I was left with this huge opportunity, because a lot of people no one knew, just Albert and I, no one knew that I was the power of his attorney. A year before he passed away, he said, I have these papers for you. I want you to sign. And what is these papers for? If anything happens, I need you to make the final decisions with everything that has to do with me. And that, again, it was like they kind of knew they were going to go. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, man, like, I got to go through this again.
Yeah.
Like, Albert, you're not going nowhere, man. Just stay healthy. You're going to be just fine. And I was there every step of the way. Every step of the way.
Yeah.
God, everybody was, man. Magali Gudasi was there. Albert's girlfriend, who was just so instrumental. His family was there. His daughters were there. God bless my wife, man. She was just there. And that day that he passed, the doctors told me he was going to pass that day.
Yeah.
They just knew they had to take him off these machines. And I got to dance one song with my wife. He loved that song, Indectutible by Ray Barretto. So I wanted him to, he hadn't smiled in like 2 months. Like he didn't move at all. So I remember when I'm like talking to him and I'm like, Albert, I'm dancing for you. I love you. And you just see, his smile cracks. Like he just smiles for me. And then he takes his last breath. And, I'm sobbing. I'm on top of him, crying. Everybody's crying in the room. And I got to go in the bathroom and put on a suit, put on a tie, and go to LA Salsa Fest, grab a microphone. The show got to go on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The show had to go on. And I don't know how we had the strength, how we mustered it. I do want to give a special shout out to my partner for life, Nick Thomas. This guy, unfortunately, there just wasn't enough money to continue the LA Salsa Fest. I did everything I could. And then this God-sent angel came in, and Nick was like, Edwin, let's make it happen. I know what Albert meant. I know what Albert meant for you. I believe in you. He believed in me. Got on that stage, let the world know that Albert had passed. Like that. I guess it was because of I hate to call it experience, but I guess because of what happened with David, I kind of knew where this was going.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew what strength I had to get in order for me to be able to muster, to be able to let the world know this is going on. The only bad part, like, I just want to say about all that, like, the only bad part, and I don't care who gets upset, is that yes, I had people there for me, but it was just very unfortunate. Like a lot of people in the Los Angeles dance scene, it wasn't like, oh man, Albert passed away, let's help Edwin with the LA Salsa Fest. It was like, oh, Albert passed away, let's see who's going to be the one to run a new Congress. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like that. Not only was I have this pressure on continuing Albert's legacy with the LA Salsa Fest, but it was also very, very hurtful that, like, there was no reason for a lot of individuals to try to go against the grain. Like, there was no reason for people to go, you know what, I'm going to start my own thing. Or, you know what, we're not going to support him because he's not Albert. We're going to go over here. And it was disappointing, but guess what? That shit inspires me, man.
Yeah.
I made sure that everybody who wasn't there regretted not to be there. I made sure everybody regretted not, like, damn, this kid's still going.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, he's still doing it. And we ended LA Salsa Fest last year at its highest, man. At its highest. We were the first ever festival to go 72 hours on a hotel. Ever. Nobody ever did that. We had food trucks in the parking lot. We had silent disco parties. Like, the goal was, for me, it was never to continue the LA Salsa Fest. That was never the goal. It was to end it the way that Albert would have loved to have ended it. right? To end it that way, because I know he wanted to end it that way, but I also wanted to evolve into something. I wanted to evolve into my own legacy. You know,
Yeah.
I had the world, we had the World Latin Dance Cup as well. And again, in the beginning, nobody believed, right? Everybody wanted to go their own separate ways. No, like not nobody. I'm so sorry to people that were there for me. Truly sorry. A lot of dancers didn't want to support me. They didn't want to support me. I don't know why. Like I don't know why. This day I don't know why. But
Yeah.
I use that as motivation. And now the World Latin Dance Cup is the biggest Latin dance competition in the world. Like what we did last year in Colombia, with all the competitors. We took it to a whole other level. We were on national TV. Like we got the government of Colombia involved in this festival.
Hmm.
I passed that on to my partner Eder Rua. I passed it on to him. We were partners. I asked him to come on as a partner because Albert loved Eder like a brother, and I loved his connections in South America. And I said it was a perfect match. But again, it was time for Edwin to start his legacy, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to uh, live as Albert Torres Jr. I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to do that because there's only one Albert Torres ever in the history. There will never be anyone like him, ever, ever, ever. But I still had that one goal in mind, believe it or not,
Hmm.
that I wanted to be better than Albert. I
Yeah.
wanted to be better than David, and I'm still young. So
Yeah.
I got a lot of things to do. I couldn't be stuck doing something that wasn't gonna allow me to fulfill my dreams. So World Cup is great. Everybody wants to be a part of it now. LA Salsa Fest, it was like I brought Monster involved. I was the first ever organization to bring a company like that ever to a Latin dance industry. Monster's involved, and then Monster tells me, "Okay, Edwin, we love you. We love this salsa thing, and this is one of the reasons why it was also the last LA Salsa Fest. But we really believe that you can do something special.
Hmm.
We're like you. So when you make this bigger, call us." So I was like, okay. I didn't take that
Yeah.
as like, oh my God, you don't want to be a part of this no more. No, I knew what they were doing. They wanted me to be bigger, and we were doing that. We were in discussions to do something very, very, very special, very, very special for 2020, for 2021. We were in. Everything was good to go. All of Albert's events that he had with other people around the world, I told his partner, look, I'm not going to be a partner. I'm sorry. Well, he guided us. He did this. And I said, that was Albert. I need you to learn how to run this event by yourself because
Yeah.
that's not what I want to do. I need you to do it. I'll be here the first year, heck, even the first 2 years. But after that, I got to go because I got
Yeah.
my dreams to finish. So here we go. Bye, mama. Te amo. Um, so we finished. LA Salsa Fest is good. All Albert's legacies is continued through many people,
Yeah.
not through me. Back to Edwin. I produced a couple tracks for two right, two really big artists, like super major in the world right now, and a legend. So I got this track for these three artists, and I was super incognito. I went to no one knew. I was like 2 months or a month. I was like super disconnected from the world. Recorded this song, and the beautiful thing was like these major artists like loved me so much that they told their labels, "We're releasing this under Edwin Rivera's record label." And I
Mm.
was like, "What?" Like, yeah, we're gonna release it under Rivera Rhythm Records. We want you to blow up. Like we already got what we got. We want to take care of you because we love what you're doing with your music. Like they love my music. We go. We got this event happening in 2021. This song is about to come out. That's it. I'm doing my thing. I'm on my track. Everything my mentors left behind. That's great. And then COVID-19 happened.
Yeah.
And COVID-19 happened, and it's just like, damn, no. No. You know, it's like, but I'm a hustler, man. I'm from the
Yeah,
Bronx. I know what it is to come from the bottom, and to make something out of nothing.
yeah,
Obviously, the first 2 weeks was very hard for me because, like I told you, I had these big plans for 2020, 2021. It was gonna be it was gonna be a wrap. Uh but I created those opportunities, and I could create them again. You
absolutely.
know, I don't wait around, man. I don't wait around. I don't. You know, any artist out there that usually when you say things like this, you say, "Look, I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but I'm not I'm not going to say that." Any
Hmm.
artist out there that they feel like, "Oh, I'm stuck," or "I don't know what to do," or "They're waiting this out," or you guys, I'm sorry, find the strength, find because no one's going to feel sorry for you. No one's going to feel sorry for you. Actually, to be honest, like, you know, I speak with other organizers, a lot of organizers around the world. They're just so impressed with these new artists that they never knew about,
Yeah,
that are thriving off the internet, that taught themselves how to DJ on the internet using graphics, doing things like what you're doing. I mean, like people you would have never known are just crushing it on the internet. So my advice to these artists is like, don't doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how many years you've put into this business. But if you're not active right now, if you're not active right now and no one's watching you and you're waiting for clubs to open up again and you're waiting for congresses to open up again, this is news reality. The
yeah,
organizers are no longer looking at these artists that used to be or were so, not used to be, these major artists before COVID. They're looking at artists that are doing incredible work during COVID. You know, a lot of them are like that right now. So it's yeah. It's pretty cool. Sorry, my
yeah.
light just turned off.
No, no, no worries. I mean, as long as we can hear your voice, we're good. But
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
just everything you're saying is just like it's as they call in New York City, but in life, the game.
That's right.
You're giving us game, and it's true because again, we have to adapt to the times.
Yes.
We have to realize that the stuff we were doing in the past is probably no longer going to fly in the future. And you know, with me, especially doing this platform, the focus was I wanted to give a voice to so many artists that have inspired me that I know that I want to know more about because I think everybody focuses on what's happening great in the world, what's happening great in our dance community. But again, like you said, there are a lot of things we're concerned about. There's a lot of things that get swept under the rug. There are a lot of issues that need to be tackled. But a person like myself, my focus is to listen
Hmm.
before I act. I need to listen and to understand your story in order to help it change, help it shape my life.
Hmm.
Because I take every story and every lesson I learn and I add it into me and I allow that to say like, hey, I learned a lesson from here and I do what I need to do for the future. I learn. So you know, for me, it's like you've done your work with Albert, you've done your work with David, you've done your success in Chile and movies, and you know, lastly but not least, you know, right behind you is something that you've created yourself,
Hmm.
Sigue El Sol. And, you know, I would just love at least for the audience to understand this event in totality, you know, and what do you see for the future?
Well, I did it, man. I did it because you know it just I, all this hard work that people are doing on Facebook, like all the DJs and instructors, and then when they they do these incredible DJ sets,
Mm,
they do this incredible uh, 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 workshops, they have these incredible festivals, and yet when people want to go back to it, they're muted. And I just felt like, damn, like all that work, excuse me, you laid down so that people could be entertained, and somebody, and thank you, Carlos. Thank you so much, man. Carlos Lamesqua. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for remembering that. Um, shout out to thank you, brother. Gracias. Suave Beats, DJ Suave Beats in the house. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Uh, I just felt like I don't know. If I'm gonna sacrifice my time to entertain anybody, I'm doing it because I want to inspire at least one kid out there. And maybe that kid didn't have the opportunity to see you live, right? So they come home from wherever they're at, or that adult or that elderly, doesn't matter. And they watch you and you're muted, or the experience is tough. And I just wanted to create a platform where we can just go in there and go crazy, DJ whatever music we want, teach workshop to whatever music we want, and not have to worry about copyright and stuff like that. And we were very successful, and also create stability in our community, right? Because obviously, when this COVID was happening, people thought, "Oh my God, it's survival of the fittest." So everybody went in their separate ways. Everybody did their separate workshops, their separate things. Everybody did everything separate. And that's great, but we're not going to go nowhere separate. We're not going to go nowhere like that. Like, we're not going to go nowhere like that. And that's just the truth. And I know that. And I know that from working with people in the industry. I know how they made it. So I wanted to create a platform where people can get the ultimate experience from the best instructors in the world. And instructors are able to make some money, some money, and get paid for what they love to do. And that's what Sigue el Sol is all about. So we just finished our first session, which we had representation from people from South Africa, Europe, Asia, and Australia. And now we go to our North American, South American edition, August 8th. And it's only $9.99. It's only $10. And you have, this second edition, you're going to have workshops from Julian Emily, Eddie Torres, Rafael and Karim from Brazil. I mean, Ismael Ortero. The list goes on and on. You're even going to have a Q&A with some of the world's best promoters in the world on what these promoters are looking for. So this is a platform that I believe is going to create stability within our community. And I invite to any organizer that if you guys want to use my platform, you're more than welcome to use my platform. I need you promoters to put your egos aside. Seriously, please put it aside, because doing a project like this is very difficult. It's incredibly difficult. People have tried it, and as you saw the first time I tried to do it, it was unsuccessful. And I want their brands to survive.
Yes.
So I'm here to help you. Reach out to me. I want your brands to survive. You want to use my platform? Let's make it happen. You want to do an online festival so that you're able to give your attendees an incredible experience and give your favorite artists some work? Hit me up. Let's make it happen. That's what we're here to do. We want to keep this alive. And that's what Sigue el Sol is all about. So everybody, if you can support, I would really appreciate it. This is going to help the artists. This is going to help us pay the artists, pay our team. It's just $10. Even if you can't make the festival, like I tell people, you want to support, if you can't make it, pay for a pass for a kid. I know thousands of kids that want passes, and we were able to do that. We were able to give away almost 154 passes to kids for our first edition. And these kids are able to take the second edition as well. So if there's any kids out there that unfortunately are having financial hardships, just hit us up, hit up your director, and let's try to make this thing grow. And I hope to have all of your support.
Absolutely. And I would definitely say for myself, and with the Live Discussions platform, I definitely will support your event. I will share it, but also you definitely can expect a donation from me to help people who may not have those funds at the moment. Because again, it's about collaboration. It's about participation. And for me too, any links that you would love to share with me, I'll gladly share it. And to be honest, I'm thankful so much that me and you could have this discussion, because I've learned so much from you, and I hope you've learned from me the stories I never got to tell you.
Of course, absolutely.
How much you've meant to me, and you inspire me as a dancer, you inspire me as a teacher, as a business person, but also as a father.
Thank you.
Me being a future father in due time, it's like I'm looking at your path and creating my own.
That's right.
So, for me, I appreciate you again coming on this platform. And like I tell all of my guests, this is the first discussion, but it surely won't be the last. And at least before we go, is there any last words you would love to leave myself and the audience?
Just thank you for remembering everything I taught you. Seriously. I don't remember those things. I don't remember those things because when you are on a path of inspiring people and you are not expecting any recognition for it, I don't remember those things. All I remember is I'm living my dream to be able to inspire someone else. Shout out to Ruby Rivera of the Texas Salsa Congress. She's here as well. She actually gave me my first opportunity as an artistic director, and from there it led to, Aventura Dance Cruise, and then that led to all these different congresses that I direct. And thank you, Ruby, for being my first, and I'm always going to be with you. Oh man, Eddie Torres in the
Yes,
house. I
the
love you, Eddie.
king, the
Yes, yes,
king.
yes. Believe it or not, Eddie, he is, before I do anything now in my career, he can tell you, I call him. I go, yo, Eddie, I got this idea. What do you think about this silent disco party? They have headphones, and I'm gonna have bachata, kizomba, and salsa. And he's like, Edwin, I've lived through it all, but man, I would love to see that happen. He was the first person I called for Sigue El Sol Fest. I said, Eddie, this is what I want to do. You know, Separately, we're not going to get nowhere. But if we could come together and do festivals around the world, like the goal is, Diamond, for Sigue
Yeah,
El Sol, is, man, it'll be cool that like Japan could do their online festival, Poland could do their online festival, Italy can do their online festival, and do it right. And my colleagues can have a job in all of those festivals. Like you can be home teaching a workshop to Japan, teaching a workshop to Poland, teaching a workshop to Italy, right? At 3 separate events, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and get paid. How amazing is that? That's how I'm thinking. And
yeah.
again, I'm doing it because I want to survive. And I love you, Eddie. Thank you for always just for all your support, our long conversations. And again, I've been truly, truly, truly blessed with every single person that's entered in my life. Thank you to every person who's ever loved me, who supported me. To those people out there that don't support me because they've heard something wrong about me, just get to know me. Get to know me. And it's okay if you look bad because you like my stuff in front of the person that talked about me. It's okay. Like, get over that already, right? Just I support me like I support you, and whatever you need from me, it doesn't matter. Whatever, I'm here for you. Anything, any artist out there, you talk to me, I'll give you whatever knowledge I have, because the reality is I need everyone in this business to be successful in order for this business to be successful in everybody's eyes.
Yes, and those words alone carry so much weight because it shows that a person with your stature, with the amount of success that you had and the amount of trials and tribulations you've gone through, are still looking for the community as a whole to
Mm-hmm.
grow. And
Mm-hmm.
again, I thank you so much for this being on
You're
this
welcome.
platform,
Thank
talking,
you so
and
much for having me. Thank you, guys.
yes,
Thank you.
and again, we will meet again. Stay safe out there in California.
Yes,
And
yes,
until
definitely,
next
sir.
time, my brother.
You got it. Shout out to everybody. I love y'all. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Much
Lo
love.
quiero mucho. Everybody out there, man, keep inspiring. Don't get discouraged. We cannot control what's happening right now. Let's just take care of each other. Let's just not think about ourselves right now. Obviously, think about ourselves with our health, with our families, taking care of each other. Please take care of each other. You got countries like Paris, France, they're opening up already because they took care of each other. Let's just take care of each other. And
Yes.
in the meantime, don't be afraid to put whatever craziness is going on in your head, just put it out there. Don't be afraid. Don't be worried about what anyone's going to think about you. Just put it out there, man. Just put it out there. Do it, because people are going to support you. Just like you, Diamond. You're putting it
Thank
out
you.
there. You're having these conversations with these incredible artists. And I'm so proud of you, kiddo. Keep making me, keep making David, keep making your grandmother proud. I love you.
Thank you, my brother. And again, please send me any info about Sigue So and any other projects you're
Thank
doing,
you.
and I'll be sure to get right on that.
I love ya. Gracias.
Uh,
To my Starlight family, thank you
yes.
for tuning in. Starlight for life. Thank you so much. To Jackie being there, to Willie Rodriguez, to everybody, Starlight, Janine, everybody. I love my Starlight family. Pam, I love you. Thank you for watching. To my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wife, Erica Salcio, my best friend, my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving me the best gift anybody could ever give, and that's the birth of our child. For tolerating me, tolerating my craziness, for just being on that road with me, man. My road warrior. I love you. To my mother, to my father, I love you guys. I love ya. Lo quiero mucho. And we'll see you August 8th. Sigue el Sol Fest. Don't miss it. We start 9 a.m. sharp. And get your tickets now. Please support, support, support if you can. I love you. Gracias, mi gente. Thank you.
All right, love you
Peace,
all.
Diamond. Love you.
Peace.